out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuned into Apartment 5B, hosted by your man, Kill. I got my squad with me in effect as always. I missed y'all. It's been 2 weeks since we chopped it up. Porsche, the co-host who held it down while I was gone. What's going on, miss?
Not a whole lot, Kill. I'm so glad you're back. All is well in the world when you're back. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I don't know if all is well in the world, but I will appreciate that. All is well
in our Apartment 5B world. Yes.
I ain't no doubt. Rel, my low brethren, what's going on, good brother?
Happy to be here as well. Glad to have you back, even though Portia did a good job.
Aw,
there
thanks.
You go. Please reiterate that for her. Eddie, what's going on out there in LA, good brother?
Yo, man, I'm good, man. You know, glad to have you back as well, man. But you know, it's always fun.
No doubt. Y'all know me. Let's jump right into it. This week we are talking about. It started from the Pusha album. Pusha album dropped, I guess, going on 3 weeks ago. I was in Ocean City. My first listen, I was like kind of disappointed. You know what I mean? But I'm like, yo, I'm gonna live. Y'all know me. I try to live with an album for at least 2 weeks, especially if it's not bad. Like I didn't feel like the Pusha was whack. Wasn't what I expected. And since then, it's grown on me, and I like it a lot more than I did when I first heard it. And it made me think, like, yo, is that okay for an album to grow on you? Should an album just hit you from the door and you just take off with it? So we're gonna be talking about, is it okay if an album grows on you? We're gonna be reviewing the Push. We're gonna be touching on the new Black Star that just dropped. And then we're going to look at 5 songs, albums, or MCs that grew on you and why you think they grew on you. Like why you didn't like it in the beginning, but why do you think, what changed you to sway you to liking it now? So Porsche, let's set it off like this. Do you think it's okay that an album grows on you? Or do you think it just needs to just knock you out from the first time you hear it?
So I'm a little torn with this question because I feel like it's two-sided. So to answer your question, yes, I think it's okay for an album to grow on you. But on the flip side, I do also believe that you should, and I Am God says this all the time, like you should, for people who don't know, I Am God is a rapper out of Chicago. And he says this in interviews. He says this if you ever talk to him about MCing. He always says, like, I always try to make albums thinking in my mind that this is the very first time somebody's going to hear me. So is this what I want them to kind of know me for? Or how do I want them to be kind of hit with my ability, quality, like all of that? So on that side, it's kind of like if an album has to grow on you, you've kind of missed it there because now you're expecting that someone's going to give you a second, third, fourth, etc. chance. And sometimes people don't. We do, a lot of us do, but some people don't. So it just depends. But I personally, because albums grow on me all the time, I think it's totally fine because I will give them the second, third, fourth listen. I don't just write it off most of the time. I don't just write it off the bat.
All right, no doubt. I know for me, from doing the research for this show, because my first initial thought was, no, an album should not have to grow on you. Like, if it doesn't, especially with hip-hop, like almost thinking through my whole life of hip-hop, it's always been, yo, what the fuck was that? And that was my melody. Yo, what the fuck was that? BDP's poetry. Yo, what the fuck was that? Top billing audio too. Like, for me, there's never really been a time that an album had to grow on me. And it's strange because this Push album is one of the few albums that has ever, and I always tell people, I've been loving hip hop since I was 10. That's 38 years. I've been loving this culture longer than some of our viewers and the people I talk to every day have even been alive. You know, and it's bug when I think about like, God damn, I've been loving hip hop longer than nigga you've been living. You know what I mean? And there's not too many times when something had to grow on me. It's kind of like either I like it or not. Everybody was telling me about these boys, Coast Contra, these boys, and they got an album out, Apartment 505, and I was like, all right, you know, I saw a little video of dude spitting, and I was like, yo, dude is dope, and I listened to it. Nothing hit me. Like, absolutely nothing hit me. Again, let me define this for people, because y'all got me fucked up out in the Twitter world. Like, I need y'all to read. It's fundamental. I didn't say it was whack. I just said nothing hit me. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, again, I'm 48. I come up in an era when you put in Long Live the Kane, and it's like I go back and listen to Raw 3 times before I even get to the next song, you know, and everything like that. So it just didn't hit me. It's just not, and I always tell people it's just not for me. Like, if it doesn't hit me the first listen, and you're a new group, you know what I mean? I probably will never listen to that album again. And I equate it to almost like dating a shorty. Like, we've all dated folks. So at the end of the day, I've never dated someone and kind of thought, oh, shorty kind of grew on me. Like, nah, it's like either I really fuck with you from the door, or I don't fuck with you from the door, and the only time maybe I'll call you is when I'm bored and I don't have nothing else to do. It's like, yo, you doing something now? I guess let's go hang out. Like, it's no excitement. And for me, it's the same thing like with music. I think we all want to meet somebody who, when we go out with them, we're like, yo, I can't wait to see shorty again. Like, yo, I can't wait to call her. I can't wait for her to come over again. That's how I want music to speak to me. I want, every so often, I just am like, yo, I gotta listen to Stove God. Where's Reasonable Drop? Like, it calls you back. Like, that's what I want music to do for me, is call me back, make me want, like, damn, I ain't heard Sci-Hi's No Dope on Sunday in a minute. Like, yo, I gotta, like you would with a shorty. Like, if you really fuck with somebody, you're gonna be like, yo, I can't wait. I want to see them again. Yo, what you doing this weekend? And to me, it's kind of like I didn't get that, you know, from a lot of hip hop like that. So for me, I guess to answer the question, for me personally, I just don't know too many hip hop albums that have grown on me, because I literally went through my whole iTunes, and if y'all know me, my iTunes is thousands of albums, and I'm just sitting here like, nah, all these albums, now maybe it was a song on the album I wasn't feeling or something like that, but on the whole, that's never happened. Got my Apartment 5B Writers Bench brethren in the building. Ev, what's going on, good brother?
Peace, y'all. My apologies for being tardy. As always, it's a pleasure to be here with everybody. You know, I see all the people who's on the panel right now, so that's dope. Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm chilling. I sound like I came in the middle of a conversation about, you want to push a thing or no?
No. We just talking about, we're looking at, how do you think an album, is it okay if an album grows on you? And I was just equating it to dating somebody, and I'm like, I've never gone out with somebody, like, I don't really like her, but then 5 and 6 dates later, I'm like, yeah, nah, she's not that bad. Like, you know what I mean? Because 9 times out of 10, if I really didn't like her on the first date, I don't know if you get a second date and a third date and a fourth date and a fifth date. Now, if you go out with somebody and you have 2 or 3 dope dates, and then you kind of have a little date, well, then I may come back again, because it's like, oh, well, you know, but we had a good time. And I'm almost equating that to somebody's discography. So if somebody's watching, like, well, Kill, if you didn't feel the Pusha album at first, why did you keep listening? Well, I'm a Pusha fan. And I'm equating that to his first 3 albums were great. So it's kind of like, well, what's wrong with this one? Like, you know, so that's how it would be with dating somebody. I'm going out with shorty 3 or 4 times. I'm like, yo, I have a dope time with her. This last date wasn't that great. I wonder why. Do I just cut her off, or do I say, okay, let's go on a couple more dates and see if it was just a bump in the road or a blip on the radar or whatever like that to kind of keep it moving. So we were just talking about that.
I mean, if I can tag team on that, I definitely agree with that completely. I feel like having an album grow on you is a natural thing. You know, I think it's okay as long as if it's a natural progression. I think if you force yourself to have something grow on you, that's something different. Then you're kind of like, you're giving, then at that point, I feel like you're giving excuses for something that that just doesn't align with you. But if it's like, yo, you listen to it one time and someone's like, let me listen to it again. That means there's something about it that you dug, but there's something about it that makes you want to come back and actually give it another go around. So with that, I'm all in. But if you like kind of force yourself to do it because whatever it's a popular thing or whatever the reasons are, I don't personally agree with. I'm like, yo, if it don't naturally resonate with you, don't do it.
Right. And I want to say this because somebody watching, I just know it. Somebody's like, well, Kill, why do you do that for Pusha? And I think I spoke on this, but just if I didn't, I've been a long week in the hood. The Coast Contra, this is their first album. I'm not a fan. People told me they were dope. I'm checking them out. I listen to it. Nothing moves me. Especially, and for me personally, and maybe we could talk about this too as we go around, I need an album to make me rewind. I love when an album and I hear a song and I'm like, yo, that song's dope. I gotta listen to that again. Those are the albums that usually live with me when it's like, yo, I've been listening to this album for an hour and I'm still on song 3 because I keep going back to listen or I keep coming back. So for Coast Contra, it would be the equivalent of F saying, yo, Kill, yo, Marjani got a shorty, yo, go out with her. And it's kind of like, okay. And then I go out and it's a bad date. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to come back. But like I said, with Pusha, I'm a Pusha fan, number one, and I've loved all his albums up to this point. So it's kind of like, again, that's the blip on the radar. Rel, what about you, bro? Do you think it's cool if an album grows on you? Is that okay? Is it nah? How do you feel?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Ev. I think just how that process goes about what makes it cool for me. You know what I'm saying? Like forcing something because it's the masses say it's hot or it's popular and you force yourself to listen to it, like that's not an organic way of an album growing on you. But if it's, like you're hearing some of my examples, like some of the reasons the album grew on me is because of me, like where I was at in my life or where my ear was at or where my prejudices were at with certain artists, you know what I'm saying? So
all very dope points.
Yeah, so I mean, it's cool. And then going through like all my music, I find it is very rare though. You know what I'm saying? Like with hip hop, like you were saying, like it's very rare because I know like now everything is so fast. You know what I'm saying? Like you get music and people put music out fast. People listen to it for a week and then it's over. You know what I'm saying? But like back years ago, it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was very rare for albums to grow on me like that. But I found a few, and the reasons why they grew on me are rather interesting. So right. I would say it's okay as long as it's organic.
Right. Eddie, what about you, good brother?
Yeah, excuse me. I agree. I think an album could definitely grow on you. I mean, and at least for me, my experience is that some albums, like, it just wasn't speaking to me, and it could be nothing wrong with the music. It could just be like I wasn't in a certain headspace, maybe like, what I was going through or what I was kind of feeling, right? Maybe the energy, right? The energy of it wasn't connected to me. And then, now I'm going through something or experiencing something and revisiting an album, and now it's connecting, completely. So that has happened to me on a couple occasions.
All right, no doubt. One of the things that you said that Rel touched on, but I think is huge, is when you're forcing something. You know what I mean? And we're going to get into both of the albums during the show, but it's funny because I didn't have to force myself to continue to listen to Pusha. You know what I mean? This Black Star album, I'm making myself listen to it. Like, after the first 2-3 listens, I was like, I'm not feeling this, but you know what? It's Mos, it's To Live, it's Mad Lib. Same thing, let me push through it, but now it's becoming a chore. Like, it's now like, there's nothing that Black Star album is like, hey, come listen to me again. Come, if you could imagine all the CDs or all these records, like little cartoon characters, like, hey, Kill, come on, put me on the turntable again. That's not this Black Star album. At this point, I'm just doing it like, am I being too hard on it? But, and that's where I realized today, I'm like, okay, I've listened to this album about 10 times and it's not clicking. So I think I'm going to tap out on this one. But let's do this. Let's talk about, let's go into some of your joints first. So Porsche, what's an album or a song, artist, whatever, that had to grow on, and why?
So I'll start with the RZA. So it's funny with the RZA because as a rapper in general, the RZA grew on me. I initially didn't appreciate his offbeat flow, his offbeat like delivery was always, because you listen to someone like Method Man and Ghost and Ray, and they're so smooth, they're so on point. And then you've got RZA, but RZA's always been kind of unorthodox with everything he's done. So it's very much in the RZA's lane to do that. I just didn't appreciate it at the time. And I remember when the Bobby Digital album dropped, I listened to it and I was like, this is a mess. Like, I don't like anything about it. But over the years, thankfully, I have like just the RZA in general and the Bobby Digital album, everything just totally grew on me, and I appreciate now RZA's rapping. I love his rapping. I love that album, except for a couple tracks on it. But I think it's a very dope joint. I think it was very sort of away from what was the norm for the Woo, and I really like that. I think it was very like what is the word I'm looking for? Innovative in a way. So over the years I've appreciated it way more than I did when it initially dropped. So the RZA as a rapper, and then that Bobby Digital album as well. So
I actually like that album, man. Like,
yeah, I love it.
I liked it. I drove my friends crazy with it because they hated it.
But did you like it? You liked it from the door?
You liked it out the gate?
No.
Oh, okay, so it had to grow on you too. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think made it grow on you, bro? Like what flipped the switch from I'm not feeling this to now I love it?
I think the way that album is structured, it is kind of like a mess. So it kind of just took me aback a little bit when I heard it. It was just all over the place to me. But it started with that Holocaust song. Like, that song was so fire. And then it just made me, I kind of just kept listening. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like kind of spitting on this song. This is different, but I kind of like it. And then just kind of built from that, because it initially just kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, I didn't think it was whack. It was just, I was like, damn, this is all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of, ingratiated myself with it. So
now tell me this. Did you go back because it was RZA? It's a Woo album. Like, let me give this another shot.
I gave it, yeah.
Okay.
Anything Woo, I'm giving it a chance. I'm giving it multiple chances because they earn that. They earn that with previous. This is why your point about a new group is so good, because they haven't earned that credibility with you yet.
Right.
So
I was about to say that I love the fact that you're using the word earn. Like I said, the previous dates, you've earned the right to have a bad day, and that's why this date was off. So I'm gonna give you another shot because you've proven to me in the past that when we link up, we have a good time together. So, maybe you had a bad day, maybe I had a bad day. So I love the fact that you said that, because like I said, I know somebody's like, well, that's fucked up. Why the new artists don't get the same love? I hear indie artists all the time saying that, like, why y'all show this rapper so much love and you ain't showing me no love? And it's like, nigga, you ain't done shit yet. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't, not saying that your shit is whack, not saying that your stuff isn't fire, but it's just, I can't expect somebody to give me the same amount of love that they're going to give to Madlib, who may be their favorite producer of their life. You know what I mean? So nothing wrong with that. The first person I have for me, it's a song. It is Amy Winehouse. When Quest first was on OK Player, that's the first time I heard of Amy Winehouse. He was just talking about this Back in Black album and just, oh my God, she's phenomenal. She's this, she's that, she's this, she's that. And I heard this single, I'm No Good. And I was like, this is the chick that you're on OK Player, like spazzing over. Like, dog, I'm expecting to hear, and this goes back again, and we're going to touch on this too about expectations, because that's something that came up a lot when talking about this Black Star album. So we're definitely going to talk about that. So I'm like, if Quest is co-signing you, this shorty gotta be dope. So I'm expecting something magnificent. I'm like, I don't like her voice. Like, this is the singer, and I didn't really love the song. Then eventually I heard Rehab, and I loved Rehab. You know what I mean? I loved the beat of Rehab. In fact, that was Nay's first song that she learned how to sing was, you know, Rehab. You know, my mother's looking at me side-eyed like, this is the first fucking song my granddaughter knows how to sing is Rehab. Like, I don't know about this kid. So if you know my mom, she always calls me kid. She's like, I don't know about that one, kid. Like, but and then I think once the expectations kind of calm down, because I think if you tell me this is the next great singer, I'm expecting Jasmine Sullivan. I'm expecting somebody who can sing, and that's not Amy Winehouse. She's not that singer. She's not singing all around the world. She like has her. She has a I would almost say she has a niche. You know what I mean? But eventually, I love Amy Winehouse. I mean, for people who haven't seen it, please go watch the documentary of her life. It's an amazing documentary. I gained so much more respect for her as a writer. Like, her pen game is crazy. I love Back to Black. I love Frank. But I think the thing that flipped the switch for me was just Rehab. Like, number one, I heard Rehab and the beat was better. And then two, understanding, bringing my expectations down that this isn't a Patti LaBelle type singer. This is a singer that's like right here, that she's not there. And then two, what also helped, I used to watch this show on Showtime called what was this thing called? It was called The Secret Life of a Call Girl or something. And the intro to the show was, You Know I'm No Good. So I think by watching that show all the time, it kind of was like, this song ain't that bad. And now I actually love the song. So Amy Winehouse is one for me. Bro, what do you have for one of yours, man?
I have an album, and it is To Pimp a Butterfly. When I first...
Me and Eva shaking our head. We'll tell you our story. We'll tell you our story.
Not long.
Butterfly, because
okay. All of mine's a guilty testimony.
Okay, I'm glad.
Go ahead. Go right ahead, because me and F's story is funny as hell. But go ahead with yours.
So, coming off of the conceptual masterpiece of Good Kid, Mad City, when I get To Pimp a Butterfly and I hear, like, from the beginning, I'm just like, what? Like, the one song has the kind of the Parliament Funkadelic type beat that's early on. Like, I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, that first listen through, I was like, I'm not really feeling this joint. I ain't gonna even hold you. I'm not even feeling. And I felt, and you know, I fuck with Kendrick heavy. I'm like, I'm not feeling this joint. Like, but again, you know, Kendrick kind of earned some credibility with me for me to continue to listen to it. And I kind of, you know, put it on the shelf for a while. And then with me, I think all it takes is for something to grab me. You know what I'm saying? And what is that song about? Something about $1. I can't remember
how much $1 costs.
That song, yeah, that song grabbed me, and it kind of got me into, you know, listening to it more. And did I freeze?
Yeah, a little bit. You glitching in and out.
Oh, my back.
Yeah, you good.
Okay. Yeah, and just got me to listening to it more, and that album really grew on me. Like, you know, I had people really coming at me crazy because I said I ain't like it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, I can't lie, bro. Like, I'm not feeling this jump, but it grew on me after, you know, repeated listens, and certain things, you know, got my attention. Certain things I could relate to off the album, and then, you know, I like it now. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I'm gonna tell you, the first couple listens, I was like, yo, I'm not feeling this job.
Ev, you want to start off? You want to start off with our story?
Yeah, because it's funny because that was my exact example. That was the same album, and I'm calling it my guilty testimony because I've never had an album that not that I shitted on it in the beginning, because it wasn't that. Just I wasn't into it. And it's funny because now listening to Rel and knowing the conversation, you know, me and Kill had, I'm like, maybe it's some Philly shit that we on. I don't know. But because when I heard it, it was the same thing. It was like, I'm coming off from Good Kid, Mad City, and I got a lot of respect for Kendrick's pen game. And I'm hearing the Pimp a Butterfly, and I'm just like, yeah. And me and Kill had a whole conversation about it that night, and we both went back and listened to it, and now it's so crazy because now that's one of my favorite albums, and I've never had that happen before. That's why I'm calling it like, this is strictly my guilty testimony. I don't know what I was thinking about or what kind of idea I had going into it, but now hearing it, and I think for me, I had to kind of like step away from my expectations and accept it as an art piece. Okay, if this is an art piece, let me see what he's talking about. Let me see where he's coming from. And then I was like, oh, this joint is fire. And so it's crazy because things don't usually slip by me that hard and come back in like a whole different kind of way. But yeah, that was my same thing with Kendrick joint. Now, like I said, it's one of my favorite Kendrick albums. I have a deeper understanding and appreciation for what he was doing on that album. Mm-hmm. But when I first heard it, it fell flat when I first heard it.
Let me explain something to you. Evan's being completely nice right now because we get that on the phone like, yo, this shit trash. Yo, that shit trash. He's like, yo, this shit is trash. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I wasn't really that. We was like, yo, this shit trash. This nigga put up a brick. Yo, it's literally like, this is the album that I've never seen an album go from, for me, this is trash, to they should be teaching about this album in college in literally a week. Like, that's never happened. Like, when do you go from something that's trash? And the funny thing is, me and Ev would call each other. Me and Ev used to talk every single day. That's how this whole podcast shit started, from me and him talking every single day about hip hop. And it maybe by the second day of To Pimp a Butterfly, we both was like, yo, nigga, I kind of like it now. And he was like, yeah, I kind of like it too. And it was like, it's never happened before. I've known Ev since I was 16 years old. Like, I've known him half my life. So that has never happened when it went from like, and neither one of us wanted to say at first, like, yo, it's really not that bad. But I know for me, the initial thing was, I remember he was on some late night show, and he did that song with Thundercat about, what did the white man say? A piece of pussy. And that's what I love that song. So when I got to Pimp a Butterfly, the first thing I was like, okay, where's that song? Okay, Bilal's on it. Okay, where's the song with Bilal? And then I saw these walls with Bilal, institutionalized with the Bilal. So I'm seeing all these Bilal songs. I'm like, yo, this ain't that song. Where's that song at? So that from the door already had me in my feelings, because that song was crazy. And it was like,
and that wound up being on the Untitled Unmastered.
Unmastered. So I'm already looking straight, like, where is that song? Then y'all know me. If you don't watch the show enough, I'm not a lyrical dude. I'm the person who thought Bag Lady, Erykah Badu, Bag Lady was about homelessness. So I'm not a deep thinker like that when it comes to songs. So just tell me what the fuck. Like, I'm talking about Atlanta. People are like, oh, you're missing Atlanta. It's about that. I said, nigga, after saving all the lives I do in the hood, I just want to watch TV. I don't want to get that deep. So even with how much $1 costs, I remember calling them like, yo, this nigga shitting on homeless people. What is wrong with this nigga? This nigga think he better than people? Like, and then it just, like you said, after listening, it just hit like, oh, he's talking about, oh, how much $1 costs is about Jesus, and you're the, oh shit. It was like, so again, perfect album, bro. And that's why me and Ed were just sitting here smiling, because again, it went from this album is trash to us talking about this album should be taught in colleges. Mm-hmm. And no album in the history of me breathing on this earth has ever gone from trash to not just a 5 mic classic, but no, this album should be taught about in universities, not no fucking high school, not no after school program, in universities. So great call with that one, To Pimp a Butterfly. And I think it goes back to what I always use the example of, you out at dinner, you ask the waiter for a Sprite, he brings you water. You taste it and you're like, there's nothing wrong with the water. You just had your mouth and your taste buds ready for that Sprite. You know, and I think that's it. And Kendrick is one of those artists who's an artist. You can't put him in a box. He's going to do something different every single time. So if you, I say the same thing about D'Angelo. You know, I remember people who didn't like Voodoo. I remember being at 889 and my people's coming through like, yo, this shit whack, man. We're the brown sugar. Where's that neo soul groove? What's this? All this darkness. And then I know people who hated the Black Messiah album, and because they're 3 entirely different albums. And that's Kendrick. Like, to me, Good Kid, Mad City, The Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn are 3 completely totally different albums, and God knows what he's going to give us 2 weeks from now. Like, you know what I mean? So I think when you realize you're a Kendrick fan, you now realize, okay, it's not going to be Chick-fil-A, where it's the same menu, the sandwich tastes the same every night. And there's no knock on Chick-fil-A. That's why most people like Chick-fil-A, because I know my food is always going to taste the same. I know if I'm in the mood for a chicken sandwich, I know it's not McDonald's and my fries are going to be grease soaked, or they're going to be good fries, or you know what I mean? You go to Chick-fil-A because the level of quality is going to be the same every time. You can't expect that from Kendrick, because he's going to do something that may be... This album was very jazzy. It was a very jazz-influenced album. You know what I mean? And we haven't had jazz influence in hip-hop since the early 90s with Tribe and Diggable and all that. So I don't think any of us were ready for these interludes with saxophones and all of that stuff. So great pick on that, bro. Eddie, what's one of yours, good brother?
One of mine, it's an artist, but also an album. So it's MF Doom, and his first album, Operations Doomsday. That was my first impression of him, and I was like, "Yo, what is this, man?" Like, it sounded like a bad demo, and it just his rhyme patterns were just so off, like. And then I'm like, on top of that, like, what is he talking about? Like, I didn't understand what the hell he's saying. Like, some of the samples, like, I was like, all right, those samples are cool, but the way he kind of arranged them, just, it wasn't, I wasn't feeling it. So then, when he dropped that MM Food, what was the MM Food, I was really feeling that. Then, what I discovered was, well, he didn't produce that one. That was the one where all the other producers did beats. I think he did like the 4 instrumentals in the middle, but all the actual songs, like, he didn't produce. It was like other producers. And I was rocking with that. Like, I liked the way he was spitting on that. I and then I wound up going back to the first album, Operation Doomsday, and then it started clicking. And now I love it. Now I have it on vinyl. I went from like, what is this garbage, to like, I actually spend money to buy it on vinyl. So,
Eddie, for people watching, maybe explain to them your grading system. And what I mean by that is, like, I know for me, if I buy something on vinyl, that means I really like it. So, I don't want somebody to just hear, oh, he got it on vinyl. Like, your grading system is like, is it I download it, I buy the CD, then I buy the vinyl, or how is your grading system?
Yeah. If I'm gonna buy it on vinyl, it's gonna be an album I feel strongly about, or either I feel like it's a classic that needs to be in every collection, or it's like a personal favorite. I think that one falls into, I don't know. I mean, some people call it classic. I don't know if I go that far, but it's definitely a personal favorite. Like, definitely joints on there. Like, I really appreciate it, man. And then, obviously, he passed.
Right. But I mean, but for you to buy it on vinyl, that means that's like the ultimate sign of I'm a fan. If I buy the vinyl Porsche, I know you don't even open your vinyl.
Ever. Yeah. Right.
So just wanted people to understand that for most of us, if we're buying it on vinyl, it means, like, all this vinyl behind me, 98% of this is all soul, jazz, funk. It's no hip hop. People think these crates have hip. There's no hip. It's I just now started buying hip hop albums. So again, for me, that's like the like, and the fact that we can say right here, like the fact that Stove God, like, if I buy the vinyl and I'm putting it up here, that means that, that it's a very dope album. I think the only 2 joints that's up here that are hip hop with Stove God and Aquemini. Like everything else that's up here is just, different genres of music. Ev, what about you? What's a joint that had to grow on you?
Well, that was a Butterfly joint.
Okay. You got anything else?
Yeah, it's funny. You know what? When Eddie brought that up, I would say MF Doom as an artist had to grow on me. Because I remember first hearing Doom when there was, cats that I kind of came up with, and they were kind of digging on Doom. I didn't really jump on the thing with Cat like that. He was cool. It was so abstract. And my thing is, I have an irritation when an MC's writing is kind of all over the place, and I felt like Doom's writing was kind of all over the place. So for me, like, my first impression was just like, that's not really my groove. But as I heard more things come out, and I think it might have started with the joint he did with Danger Doom. The Danger Doom album, Danger Mouse. And so that one, and then when I felt like Doom was dope, is the Rock Cocaine joint. That verse was just ridiculous. So at that point, I came to understand his style, and I came to appreciate it for what it was. But in the beginning, it was like that wasn't at all he wasn't at all like my cup of tea. But it's still to this day, like, Doom can only do that. He's the only kind of cat that can give me that, like, because he's still, like, even in his later days, he still was kind of writing all over the place. But I came to appreciate it for who he was.
It's funny. I heard my man Apex told me a rumor back in the day, and I don't know if it's true, but it sounded like it was true. He was like, "Yo, I heard MF do like writes rhymes down on sticky notes, and then just puts them around the room. And then when it's time to record, he's just grabbing random sticky notes." And that's why the shit don't make sense, because it's so randomly done that. And again, I don't know if that's true, but when I heard it, I was like, I could believe it because that sounds like that's what he's doing, so.
Ghostface was like that for me too. When my first impression of Ghostface was like that, because Ghost was all over the place. I think when Ghost had that interview, I forget whoever he was talking to, and they were like, "Yo, when you said da 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 da, supercalifragilistic, whatever like that," he was like, "Oh man, I was just saying some shit." At that point, as an MC, I was like, "Are you serious?" It so got under my skin, man. But at the same point in time, Fish Scale is one of my favorite albums. So I think even with Ghost, it came to a point where I had to appreciate what he was doing, and I feel like he kind of grew too as an MC. I feel like he kind of grew from how he was when he first started. So I think it was like we kind of was able to meet each other in the middle, like in some kind of middle field kind of thing. But yeah, my thing with Ghost was like that for me too.
And I think what some people have to understand is that some MCs just have it. You know what I mean? It's like when new people come to work with me, I'm like, never, ever in the depths of your soul ever try to follow and say what I say to my kids and my families. Like, I can call my kids stupid. You can't. Mm-hmm. Don't try to do that. I can go back and forth with this mother cursing each other out. Don't ever in your life try to do that. It's just certain people can do certain things. And Doom to me was one of those people who could do a certain thing, because a lot of people always ask me, well, why does he get that pass? And I don't know if it's a pass. I think it goes back to the word that Rel used, was that you've earned that. I've earned my stripes in my community, that I'm able to call one of my kids stupid, and he knows I'm not calling him stupid. Ev, you don't know my kids. You haven't earned that stripe. So when you call one of my kids stupid, it's disrespectful. Yo, who the fuck is this nigga talking to me like that? So it goes back to, again, we're going to keep going back to that word Rel uses, that it's earned. You know what I mean? And not everybody can't sit back and be like, well, why does Doom get to do that, but I don't? Doom is better than you. How about that? We ain't gotta make this really fucking complicated. How about he's just better than you are? Like, end of the day. Rel, I was talking to somebody the other day in the shop, and I hate when people, this is a pet peeve of mine. Steph Curry ruined the game of basketball. Steph Curry didn't ruin the game of basketball. What ruined the game of basketball is the coaches who allow players to shoot like Steph Curry, who can shoot like Steph Curry. That's what ruined the game of basketball. Steph can make those shots from the logo. Dame can make those shots. Trey can make those shots. That's 3 out of probably 400 plus people in the NBA. So don't blame Steph for ruining the game. How about you blame these coaches for letting these people who can't shoot like Steph shoot like Steph? Like, y'all got misplaced anger. Y'all need to. Steph ain't do a goddamn thing wrong. Steph came in here with his game, and that's what his game was. And then guess what? Everybody wanted to bite that nigga style. Same thing. Nip Rock brought back the no drums and hip hop. Now everybody do it. You can't say Rock Marcy fucked up the game. Rock ain't do nothing. He just did him. The niggas biting his shit is the ones who were fucking up the game. My bad. Porsche, what's another one? I'm on my tangents tonight.
Oddly enough, I've got Kendrick on my list, but for Damn, not for To Pimp a Butterfly. And I love Kendrick. So he didn't have to grow on me as an artist, but I do recognize, like, okay, so when Damn dropped, I was super excited because, like, obviously Good Kid, Mad City, and then we had To Pimp a Butterfly, and then we get Damn, and I was like, wow, this is, like, very different, very, very different. And I kind of blame that on me rather than Kendrick, because I kind of take it as, like, I was uneducated about him as an artist. Like, I didn't give him the credit of doing, like Ev said, and like you said, Kendrick will never give you the same album twice, ever. And we don't see a lot of artists that like that in hip hop, you know, that can be conceptual every single time and can deliver so well every single time. So for me, I was a little bit, it was my own expectation that just Damn didn't kind of meet up to that. It just sounded sonically, it was different. And it didn't resonate at the time, but I was like, no, like, and the reason I went back was exactly what you guys said. Like, Kendrick earns that. I'm like, no, something's wrong with me because it can't be Kendrick. Like, he's dope. I'm gonna listen to this because I'm missing something. Like, I am missing something. And while I still don't like the joint he has with Rihanna, Automatic Skip,
that's so funny because that's my favorite song.
Oh, I can't.
And this is a great testament to what I say every day on Twitter. Music speaks to us all differently because I absolutely love that song.
I don't hear their chemistry. I think it's a misplaced collaboration. I don't know. To me, it's just a little weird. But to say all this to say that I eventually was like, I can appreciate Damn for what it is. Like, I can understand that Kendrick is the artist that he is, and that's what he's giving you. He's giving you concepts. He's giving you something different every time, and he doesn't want to be that artist that is giving you, like, he wants to be the artist, I feel like, that is giving you something different with every single release. And for that reason, I really grew to appreciate Damn for what it is. And I mean, you know how everybody is with Kendrick stuff. It's like, you got to listen to it this way, and you got to hear how it is, you know, when you play it backwards and upside down and this way and that and left and right.
I remember with Damn, people saying you got to listen backwards. You have to start with the last song.
Exactly. Right. So I did all that, and I was like, man, listen, like, Kendrick has people doing things in you know, They
actually put out an album with it going backwards.
Yes, that's a fact.
They actually put out a version going backwards.
Yes, that's a fact. So, Kendrick for me too. But for Damn, and not as an artist, just that album had to grow on me. So,
can I chime in too, man? Because this one was also kind of on my list, or like an honorable mention, man. Because the funny thing is, like, what you guys were talking about, To Pimp a Butterfly, which it also had to grow on me, To Pimp a Butterfly, but To Pimp a Butterfly grew on me probably at like the third listen. You know, it didn't take that long. Damn, I kept giving Damn chances because I'm like, well, To Pimp a Butterfly had to grow on me, so let me keep listening. And there's still songs on Damn that I absolutely hate, like that Love song, the God song, Loyalty, I skip maybe half the time. But overall, I get it, you know, like, there's a lot of joints. Like, I used to skip half the album. I'll be completely honest. Like, I was like, DNA, Element.
That's crazy that you can still listen to an album, because if I gotta skip half of it, it ain't even staying. It ain't even surviving.
But that's what the thing, man. I feel like Kendrick kind of brainwashed me because I was like, damn, all right, man, To Pimp a Butterfly had to grow on me. Let me keep giving this chance. Now, I don't love it. Like, it's probably my least favorite Kendrick album still, but it's listenable at least, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I just skip the ones I don't like and move on.
All right. No doubt. The next joint I got up is a song, and I'm going to kind of put this as a whole posse cut of songs. It's Tony Terry's When I'm With You. I despised that song when it dropped. And it goes to Rel's point of what he said earlier about where I was at in my life. I'm probably a freshman or a sophomore in college. I'm not trying to hear When I'm With You. That's a wedding song. You know what I mean? Like, dog, the last thing on my mind as a sophomore in college is getting married. You know what I mean? Or I don't need to be playing that during no slow jam tape When I'm With You and the shorty think I'm singing that shit to her. Like, nah, I don't need that energy around me. Get that, say that shit for the old heads or whatever people want to get married. And I say a whole cornucopia of songs. Porsche, Water Runs Dry, On Bended Knee, all that. Any type of love. I want to marry you. I just want to share my eternity with you. Nigga, I was not trying to hear that shit. No, 1993, none of it. Whereas now,
just wait until the next song, I tell you.
So, whereas now I've been married 22 years. Now I absolutely love Tony Terry's When I'm With You. I literally sing it like I used to be singing Jodeci. I can sing Water Runs Dry or On Bended Knee or Tony Terry's When I'm With You and all of these things. So, Rel, when you said that earlier at the intro of the show about it's a lot about where you were when you heard these songs and where your mentality was. I know with those type of slow jams. Ev, I don't know if you remember my slow jam tape from Lake and always called 90 Minutes in Timberland, 90 Minutes of Knocking Boots. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you know, Tony Terry's When I'm With You is not going on 90 Minutes of Knocking Boots. That's totally going up against the grain on that. So, Tony Terry, any type of love song, any type of I Want to Marry You song, and You Put a Move on My Heart by To Me, I hate it. Oh my God, did I hate that song. So, all of those love songs. So, that's it for me, bro. What you got up next?
Well, here we go. Album and kind of artists at that point. Machiavelli.
Like fight
Porsche.
Let me explain.
Now I see what Rel was like. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I knew.
To digest this. So you said Machiavelli, like arguably the best posthumous album ever released in the history of music. I'm just making sure
Yep, that's what he said. That's what he said.
Okay,
that's what he
just
said.
making sure.
That's what he said.
And that's like I said earlier, some of this stuff is because of me, not necessarily.
Porsche is like, God damn it, I know it's because of you. It's not Pop.
Right.
Porsche is like, tell me something I don't know. Like, you can't blame Pop. So of course
I did not fuck with Tupac at all during the East Coast, West Coast. During that time,
I'm with you 100%.
I was fuck Tupac. That's why I got caught. I'm not gonna lie, I got caught up in it. Like,
nigga, so did I. And like Ev said earlier, maybe it's a Philly thing because I was the same way. I didn't hear All Eyes on Me till maybe 2-3 years ago when Porsche was like, yo, I challenge you to listen to All Eyes on Me because I was not fucking with Pac. I did, you talking greasy like that to eat? Nigga, nah. Like, so I got caught up too, bro.
He was just going too hard. I just like, you know what? I did not. So I didn't even give some of this stuff a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even like with Machiavelli. I didn't even really listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw To Live and Die in LA video, and you know what I'm saying. But I wasn't messing with it. You know what I'm saying? It took for all that to be over with and me to get a little older, for me to go back and listen to a lot of this stuff and then appreciate how good it was, you know what I'm saying? Because at the time, I wasn't going to listen to it. I didn't like that dude. I was just like, what was going on? Like, when people say, during that time that it really got people involved in it that had nothing to do with it. It's very true because we're on here saying it right now. I mean, Kill Agree, Ev Agree. We were in that shit. Like,
yo, bro, I'm looking at this shit. Yo, when Hail Mary dropped, I remember niggas playing that. I was like, yo, this shit sound like trash. Like, what the fuck is y'all listening to? This Come With Me. Like, I was like, yo, this shit is trash. I love the song now. I do. I was like, yo, this is trash. Like, I'm like, niggas, what are y'all? This is where we at now in the game. This nigga screaming. But, like, bro, I love it now. I love it.
Yeah. And so, like, Machiavelli, that shit is fire. But I would have never known during the time it was out because I wasn't listening to it. Like,
listen, better late than never. I appreciate it, bro. Better late than never.
Yeah. I just ain't mess with him, man. Like, it was. Yeah, like, you know what was going on. He was going too hard for me, and he didn't listen. All my favorite rappers. I'm like, oh, nah.
Listen, when that whole East Coast, West Coast thing was going on, like, you can't really be faulted for getting wrapped up in it. Everyone's emotional over people they like, and you know what I mean? Especially at that time, and it was kind of doctored that way, right?
It was played that way, yeah.
It was, absolutely. So, can't really blame you for that.
Yeah, so
I agree with you 100% on that.
Now I love that album, so it's just like, you know.
All right, we got Poor Smiling again. We can move on.
Yes.
I was worried for a while. First day back, and we already got beef. Eddie, what's going on? What you got, bro?
All right, let's see. The next one I'm gonna say is Phrenology from The Roots.
Still like that. I'm sorry.
Ev said exactly what I thought at the time. Like, it's scary. He's like, I was still fuck with that shit. I'm like, God damn, nigga, you in my head. Like, how the fuck you know I said?
So I mean, so y'all will understand like what I initially disliked about it. Y'all still dislike it, but I was like, all right, man, yo, where's the boom bap? Where's the spit? Where's everything that I loved from the past two Roots albums, meaning Things Fall Apart and Philadelphia Half-Life. And it just felt like such a departure, and I was like really looking forward to it, and I'm like, nah, man. So I think something I think I lost like misplaced some of my CDs, right? And I was in the mood to like listen to the Roots, and I was like, damn, all I got is Phrenologies. So I'm like, I put it in, and I rode with it, and it kind of grew on me, man. And then I began to really appreciate it. Like, I just think at that time, I wasn't really in the mindset or the mood for like eclectic hip hop. Like, I wasn't trying to hear that, right? Like other artists, like R&B and stuff, sure. But like for hip hop artists, especially like spitters, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to hear it, but you know, the songs, like it's like some really great songs, man, that I still love, and you know, the change of the production and all that, like, you know, there's a time when I definitely say I want to listen to Phrenology, and then there's a time that say I want to listen to Things Fall Apart and Philadelphia Half-Life, right? So it has its own place in their catalog for me, and you know, I grew to appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm with that. Fuck that album, man. Like, fuck the kids. Like, you know, fuck the kids. I totally understand what you're saying, Eddie. And it's dope that you're able to do that. I think as the Roots, the reason it's almost like, I can't say that because that would be, I'm trying to stay PG-13. It's kind of like if you have a girl who cooked for you and then she stops cooking for you, type thing. You know what I mean? I felt like what I loved about the Roots was the boom bap. What I loved about the Roots was Malik B. That was missing this album. So it's kind of like, okay, do I still want to be with Shorty? Because, yo, you used to cook really good, and now you don't cook at all. And I don't know if you're ever going to go back to cooking, so I'm going to just walk away. So I think that's what I did. I commend you because you stayed. Like, you're the father who stayed. So I commend you, Eddie, for, staying and not leaving your kids. But I'm going to leave because this chick don't cook no more. And cooking is not what I would normally would say if we weren't recording this right now. It would be some other things. But, yeah, so it's dope you stay. But, yeah, the Roots is so funny because when I talk to fans of the Roots, I realize you have different fans. Like, I know people who are diehard Roots fans who have never heard Philadelphia. Never heard it. And I'm just like, wow. Because they have like fucking 108 albums out. So, they're literally fans of just, post phrenology. I know Roots fans who've never even heard phrenology. You know what I mean? The funny thing, and I've said this all the time, but the Roots and Tribe follow such a direct path with me personally. I wasn't in love with People's Instinctives. I thought it was a cool album, but I wasn't a fan. Same with Do You Want More? Even though they were from Philly, I wasn't really a fan. Philadelphia Low End Theory drop, I'm a fan. These are just great albums. There's no way they can top this. Things Fall Apart, Midnight Marauders come out. Oh my God, they topped it. Or I'm not mad at anybody who says Things Fall Apart. Philadelphia, same way I'm not mad at anybody who says Low End over Midnight. Then their next album, Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and Phrenology, they both dipped for me. And what it's so coincidental about both of those albums is, to me, once again, was just a play on Check the Rhyme. It was like, how can we get another Check the Rhyme single? And to me, Break You Off was literally, how can we get another You Got Me single? So it's just so crazy to me how like their discographies almost align perfectly, at least for me. Same thing on the first album. I'm like, yo, why is Fife even in the group? Tip do all the rhyming. Same thing with Malik. I was like, yo, I can make a nerd say he's superb. Nigga, how you get a record deal? And then on the second album, you get Butter, which was crazy, and you get No Great Pretender, which is personally my favorite Root song. My favorite Root song does not have Black Thought on it. So they just line up perfectly like that. So for me, so definitely I feel you on Phrenology. F, do you have another artist or group or album that had to grow on you?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a guilty pleasure now. Now I will start by saying when the whole pop thing came in, after hip hop was doing its thing and things started really going pop, and that road split, I definitely went the hip hop route, and a lot of the pop stuff I wasn't feeling. This album, however, is actually a good album. I don't own it. It's in my streaming. I don't listen to it. But if it came on, I can definitely appreciate it. And that's Get Rich or Die Trying. Go figure. Okay. When it first came out, I wasn't a fan because, again, I wasn't into the pop thing. I wasn't into, I didn't really have too much respect for how 50 came into the game, just dissing everybody. I feel like that was just like a little bit of a backdoor way to get in. But the album itself, it's not a bad album to me. Like I said, I don't listen to it on the regular. If I hear it, I can appreciate it. I can appreciate spit game on it. Not anything that I will go like, I don't have any like urges to hear Get Rich or Die Trying, but if it came on, I'm not mad at it at all. So it was more of a guilty pleasure. And I think just to add on to this is, for me, to have an album grow on me, that doesn't happen too much. Usually if I don't like it and I listen to it again like 2 or 3 times, I still don't like it. So a lot of things don't make it through the gate. This one made it through the gate, but it wasn't enough for me to actually have a copy of it. But I can still appreciate it for what it was.
It's funny you said 50. I like the album. I don't love it as much as most people do. I know a lot of people who live and die by that album. That's one of the greatest rap albums ever created. And I'm like, hey, you're kind of going a little habitual line stepper right there with that. Yeah, but again, it's everybody's opinion. But I love it. But I don't love it as much as most people love it. I know a lot of people who are like, no, that's one of the greatest albums ever made. And I'm like, okay, you're probably under 38, so I'll give you a pass. So neither here nor there. Let's take a break on that with our last 3. Pusha. Porsche, what did you think of this Pusha T album? How many mics are you giving it? Did it grow on you? Did you love it from the beginning? What's your verdict on Pusha?
So, I liked it. out the gate, and I didn't dislike it. It didn't have to grow on me. I just liked it. But Pusha's not one of my most favorite. I don't like love Pusha. I'm not like, gripping my seat waiting for his albums to drop, but I definitely check them when they do. So for me, it met my expectations. I mean, it's Pusha. He's doing what he does, and I like it. I know a lot of people kind of go hard on the production or something like that, but for me, I think it was good. I love some songs more than others. Some songs like stick out more than others do, but I liked it, and I haven't disliked it. I haven't liked it any more or less than when I first heard it, but I still keep it in rotation. So for me, I give it like a 3.5 mics. So it's dope.
All right, well, what about you?
Yeah, I like it. I think my anticipation for this album, like I've been like waiting. I'm a huge Push fan. I love Daytona. I think that had a negative effect on how I heard the album when I first heard it. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't being, I don't know if I can say fair. Like I'm thinking Daytona, how crazy that was, you know what I'm saying? And then my anticipation, and it was kind of, when I heard it was like, I'm like, it's dope, you know what I'm saying? But it's not, what I expected. But that was like the first 2 listens. But like, I like it. I will give it 4. I'll probably give it 4 mics. I like it. You know what I'm saying? It's dope. It's just, I think with the expectations, the follow-up from Daytona, and then one thing, I had to keep things in perspective too. Daytona has 7 songs on it. This album has more, so there's more chances for something to not be hot when you add songs to it. But it's some songs on here though that I really really love. You know what I'm saying? I think it started out really good, like that Brambleton song I really like. So I think it's dope. You know what I'm saying? It's about a 4 for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to it on a daily basis. So I like it.
Okay. Ed, what about you?
Yeah, man, I have to echo a lot of what Rel was saying about the expectations. Like coming from Daytona, like Daytona off the gate with, if you know, right? And it was 7 tracks, all of them were dope, right? There was no letdown, nothing. And this was just like, had to listen a few times, and it wasn't like nothing was good. I mean, there were a few tracks that's on the initial listen, there were a few tracks that stood out to me like in a negative way, like what was that, like, or hooks or certain beat choices or stuff like that, and it has grown on me. I just listened to it again today. It has grown on me, but I don't know if there's really a good handful of songs that I really love. Like I don't know if there's anything on there that, to be honest, that I really love yet. And for that, I'll give it a 3. Okay. It ain't trash. Like it's good. It's still nothing that I'm gonna say like I really love, and still too much skipping around for me.
All right, no doubt. Ed, what about you, good brother?
Okay, so here's the thing. I gotta give a little context. Okay, let's start. I gotta give this a little bit of context. I'm an older dude. I'm not an old dude, but I'm an older cat, and sometimes that works against you. I think in where I'm at, I've gotten to a point to trust what I like and trust what I don't like. I went through the album pretty quickly. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't sit on each song and go back and give it I went through the album quickly, and it's more like what pulled me and what didn't. A lot of it didn't, and this is my thing though. As an MC, I think Pusha T is phenomenal. I can never get into the drug rap. That's just my thing. Like, that's the reason why I don't listen to Griselda like that. I'm just not into, like, I'm too old to listen to drug rap like that. But that's just me. Not too old, but that's just, I'm not into drug rap. It's not to do with age. Also, I think that when I think about this whole, like, the way that they set it up, this whole, like, Pharrell versus Ye, I think the production was lackluster on both sides. So to have that be such a promotion tool, I feel like it didn't really live up to its standards or to the hype that was put around it. So for me, like, nah, I'm good on the Pusha album, but I feel some kind of way because I do feel like I love Pusha T as an MC. I just get tired of the content, and I think my thing with the clips was I could deal with the clips more because I had more than one person giving me a drug rap reference. So I had different perspective, and in that sense, I could live a little bit longer in that world. When it comes to just one person and every song is wrapped around it, and I get it. It's just like, yo, that's my thing. I've always been doing this. Is what I do. As an MC, I respect it. It's just not my cup of tea. Again, it's not nothing that I'm gonna walk with. I'm gonna take it home. I'm gonna throw it in the car. I got a 6-year-old. I can't even really bang that in the car like that. You know what I mean? Right. So there's a couple things that kind of just work against me. Just is where I'm at. You know what I mean? And one of those things is just like, yo, I just can't do the drug rap. So the Pusha album, I was, maybe that sound is the sound of today. Maybe that sound as far as production wise, maybe that's the sound that's resonating, just in today's time. For me, I'm just like, yo, Pusha needs some dirt. I gotta get Pusha dirt. I don't know what's all this like heavy bass line, this heavy sub bass shit. And that's cool. But Pusha, to me, I like Pusha on dirt. And the last track that I really fucked with Pusha like that was the Kanye joint with the piano. I can't think what it's called. The one with the ballerina dancing and shit like that. The video with the ballerina that was in there dancing.
Oh, you talking about the Kanye joint? Off of I don't
even like Kanye's verse. I don't like that joint till Pusha comes on. Right. See, that's the Pusha that I like Pusha like that. And I didn't get that. I got it's something else. So I'm good on the Pusha album. I don't have any stars to give it. It's not like it's a 0. It's just like I feel like I'm certain albums you feel like I'm not qualified to give a review because it's so much not my lane. I can't even give a real perspective because it's not my thing. It's not in my book to open up and just kind of skim through like that. So,
right. Yeah. Understandable. Eddie, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say like what Ev was saying about the production, and I could see a scenario where if someone took them Pusha T vocals and remixed it and just made it like real grimy, like would love it. You know what I mean? Like Pusha T's verses were not the problem. Like I just want to say it like anyone saying, "Oh, you hating on Pusha T, you gave it a 3." Nah, it's just it wasn't fitting with this production, and it just felt lackluster, man. Yeah.
All right, no doubt. I wanted to go last on this because everybody knows I love Pusha T. You know what I mean? And one of the things is from my first listen, I gave it a 3.5. Which is crazy to me because my expectations, and we'll talk about expectations after this, was 5 Mic Classic. You know what I mean? If we're talking about Pusha, if you tell me, Kill, in a 2-week span, you're going to get a Pusha T album and a Black Star album, nigga, my expectations for both of those albums are going to be 5. You know what I mean? From the gate. I think the thing that I didn't like about the Pusha at first was I didn't like the sequencing. I didn't like it starting off with Brambleton. I didn't think that was the right song to set it off with. I felt like I wanted more energy. I would have set off the album with Diet Coke. You know what I mean? But the thing that helped me kind of look at this album in a different way, in a different light, was watching interviews with Push. And he was on Jimmy Fallon, and he was saying, Jimmy was asking, what's the difference between working with Ye and Pharrell? And he said, well, when I'm working with Ye is a Pusha T fan. So when I get in the studio with Ye, I just do Pusha T, which was an aha moment to make me say, that's why I love Daytona so much. Because what Ye said was, here's some beats, go be yourself. And that was 7 songs of him being himself. This go round, Pharrell was more so trying to coach him. Pharrell was like, nah, dog, do something different. When I first heard Neck and Wrist, I was like, yo, why is he rhyming like that? What rhyme style is this? That's not your regular Pusha rhyme style. You know what I mean? When I heard Brambleton, I was like, you listen to Brambleton and Diet Coke, it's almost like two totally different styles. You listen to what's this joint called? Hear Me Clearly. If you listen to Hear Me Clearly and then Neck and Wrist, they're two totally different styles. And it kind of made sense, like, okay, all the songs that I like where Pusha T is being Pusha T is over Ye. Because Ye is just do Pusha T. Whereas Pharrell is trying to push him like, dog, you've been doing this shit for 25 years. Try a new flow. Try a new style. Like, I'm going to try a different beat. And it kind of made me kind of be like, okay, I kind of see why he's doing different things now. For me, it's probably going to tap out at a 4, maybe even a 4.5 eventually, because I didn't have to make myself like this. It kind of was like it started in Ocean City. I listened to it on my flight to Cali, while I was in Cali, on my flight back. I don't find myself making myself listen to it. I just think for me, it's kind of like now I at least understand why he's not doing Pusha T on every single song because of that. My only beef with half this album is why is Ye rapping? Like, even on the joint Dreaming of the Past, I feel like he comes in with like 6 bars and he's talking about fucking like this Kim Kardashian shit. It's like, you know, when the father's away, and I'm like, dog, how you just fucking ruin the whole song talking about your personal shit? But in another interview I read with Pusha, he was saying, or I heard with Pusha, he was saying how I'm assuming the Dreaming of the Past beat that Ye was going to keep for himself, and Pusha was like, okay, in order for me to get that beat, I'm gonna have to let him rhyme on it. Like, yo, why don't you just come in and drop a little quick 6 bar, you know, kind of like he was saying something like Porsche how Biggie did on Kim's No Time, when Biggie just kind of came in with a quick little 2-3 bar verse, real, you know what I mean? Not no real guest verse, but just, you know, I forgot what Big said, but it was like, get off my dick, kick it, bitch. And like, that was just that. So it was like, okay, we're going to do that. Or so that was my only thing. But this album definitely did grow on me. Nowhere near no To Pimp a Butterfly, because I'm still not calling this no 5 mic classic. But it has grown on me. Black Star. Porsche. The look on your face.
I almost want to go last because
you want to go last. You can go last, Rel.
No, I'll go. It's fine. Listen, I was like Jadakiss's top 5 Dead or Alive disappointed in this one.
Wow.
I was.
Yeah. Now, if y'all know Jadakiss's top 5 Dead or Alive disappointment, that's
he owes me mics for that, and Black Star owes me mics for this. So
damn. Okay.
it sounded lazy. It sounded unfinished. It sounded thrown together. It sounded rushed. Like, it sounded all of the things that you never ever want your album to sound like. And I don't know if I'm being hard on it or if that's what... I haven't been on Twitter this week, so I don't know what everybody's saying about it, to be honest. I have no idea. But I listened to it and I was like, are they for, like, I listened to the whole thing through, and the entire time I was like, this can't be for real. Like, who allowed this to be released this way? It's very disjointed. Some songs are okay, but then some are just brutal. Like, I don't know. And I think a lot of it is because the legacy artists, I find, they rely a lot on their legacy and their name. And
can you define legacy artists?
Yeah, exactly what I said. Like, artists that have built a reputation based on previous work that they've done that has been exceptional or has been really well received by fans. Like, I would say largely well received, like on a very wide scale. Black Star to me is that way. Like, I feel like this album is sort of kind of relying on their reputation, and that's going to get them a lot of traction and a lot of play. I know that there will be some people who genuinely like this album, that think it genuinely sounds really good. I know some people that will like it just because it's a Black Star album, and it doesn't matter what's in it. They're going to like it no matter what. and because Madlib's on production. You know, like just they have all the right pieces. I just don't know where it fell apart, and I don't know who cleared that to fall apart this way. And again, I've listened to it a few times, and I'm like, I can't. I gave this more chances than I gave Jada Kiss's joint, and I love Jada like so much. So I don't know. I don't know. I give it like a half a mic.
God
maybe one mic. Okay, fine. We'll just give it one mic, just so that there's like a whole microphone.
No, Porsche just ether this shit. Porsche said, give it a Nas. Give it one mic. Porsche said, give it a Nas. That's what I'm gonna start calling shit. Give it a Nas. Give it one mic. That nigga got one mic.
Yeah.
God damn.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe it's me. Maybe.
Don't be sorry. No.
You know,
No. Let me explain something to you, Porsche. That man right there called me from the fucking airport. Like, yo, what the fuck is this shit? This nigga's getting on a plane, boarding a plane, calling me about that.
I don't know if in like 15 years we're gonna come back as Apartment 5B and I'm gonna be like, this Black Star album grew on me. I don't know, but all I'm saying is it was not it. Like, they owe me mics. I don't.
Ev, you called me from the airport while boarding an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on this album, man?
My thoughts is I think Porsche had a lot of great points that I definitely agree with. I think it was lazy. I'm disappointed. I'm a little hurt actually, because my thing is this: you had so much talk around I don't know who it was. I'm gonna say the label that wasn't allowing y'all to put the album out, and it was all this and it was all that, and I heard most like, you think we don't want the album out? I heard all this talk about it, and I was hyped off the fact that it was another Black Star album. What I got, I can barely call it a demo. And I read the liner notes and I heard, I see where it says, they recorded a joint in hotel rooms and shit. Why you release it like that? All this time you've been sitting. You could have went to anybody's studio and actually did a better version of what you gave.
Right.
Number one, like, it's almost like, I went to the store to buy, to buy Peking duck, and you gave me swab. What is that shit? The duck is not even duck. I think it's called swab, some shit like that. A lot of times when you go into the Chinese, you go into like these smaller like Asian type stores and you ask for duck, it's not actually duck. And that's how I felt like I feel like, yo, man, I asked for the duck and y'all motherfuckers gave me some swallows and shit like that. I'm disappointed at the joint, man. And the thing is, I'll say this, I'm not mad, and I'm just gonna go in. I don't care who says what, you can hit me up on Twitter. I don't give a fuck. But my thing is this, man. And I got because
goes in violence.
I've been waiting for this album, and my thing is, I liked some of Moses' verses. The thing that made me want to hear this album is because in hip hop we had categories. We had your drug rap, we had the street shit, we had, I'm not even call it conscious rap. I'm just saying something that's not the braggadocio, whatever. You're talking about politics, you're talking about what's going on in the world, whatever the case may be, give me that. And I felt like I got that, not from this album. If you look on YouTube, there's when Dave Chappelle put out his last joint, the song that was connected to that, I think it's called The Closure, Dave Chappelle's Closure joint, but the track that they played for that, the beat is completely different than the beat that you got on the actual album. The beat that's on the YouTube joint fits most styles so well. It made me want to listen to, that was the track that made me want to listen to this album. And I think the name of the song is, fuck is the name of that song? It'll come to me, I can't think of it right now. But that particular track made me want to listen to this album. So when I heard it and the beat is different, I'm like, what's this? And then on top of that, this production, this whole like, yo, Madlib did the whole joint. Like Porsche, you had all the right ingredients. Everybody showed up and then they went on coffee break. And then what I got is a coffee fucking breakout. I don't know what happened. Talib? Nah, man. Nah, I can't. It's to a point, Talib's, his voice is just like, I can't do it. I can't do his voice. I can't do his verses. I can't do it. I like some of the stuff what Most was doing, but I don't like some of the stuff that's over some of these tracks. And then the delivery that he gave is completely different. It's like, yo, y'all could have I would have rather you just not put it out. Just don't put that out instead of putting some stuff like that out. And I might be going in, and like I said, I don't give a fuck. Y'all can blow me up on Twitter. I don't give a shit, because at the end of the day, this is how I feel. And I wanted some dope. I wanted a dope album, and I got something else. And and I'm a fan. I'm a fan because I was told Kill. I was interested to have this other lane that hasn't been really addressed in the last couple of years when it comes to MCs. A lot of MCs are not really digging this other lane of, we're not talking about how dope we are. We're not talking about the street shit, and we're not talking about the drug shit. We're talking about this right here. And that's why I was waiting for them to give me that. And I feel like I got a lackluster project, man. So
you know what it is, Ev? It reminds me of Charlie Brown Halloween episode where everybody was getting candy, and Charlie Brown was like, I got a rock.
Rock, yo. I got a rock.
Like, niggas is eating their candy in front of Charlie Brown. That nigga's like, nigga, I got fucking...
And you don't know you got a rock till you get home and you open your bag. I got a fucking rock?
Poor Charlie Brown, man.
Eddie, what are your thoughts, good brother?
Oh, man. Yeah, man. I was disappointed, man. I give this album, I can't even give it any mics, man. I'll give it an incomplete.
This nigga, Porsche gave it a Nas. Porsche gave it a Nas.
He gave it a Nas.
That nigga, I can't read this. I'm gonna give it an incomplete. This nigga, you ain't showing for enough classes to even get a grade.
You don't agree.
Damn. Nah, man. Because
these niggas blowing up my timeline, and Eddie gave it an incomplete, and Porsche gave it a one mic. Wow. You know what I mean?
Okay. Like, so the Mad Lib beats, and I've spoken to a few people about this. I was having a dope conversation with Neltron about it. The Mad Lib beats.
It's funny because as soon as he got a phone with you, he called me.
Right. The Mad Lib beats would have been cool on a beat tape, right? But you can't just. It's like you can't just take something from a beat tape, which, who knows if that was even his completed, right? They liked it and just recorded over it, but it just wasn't it. Then Most did not sound inspired, man. Oh shit, we lost Kill.
Yeah, he'll probably be back.
Anyway, man. Most did not sound inspired, man. Like, my first thought was like, yo, that's cool for scratch vocals, man. That's a cool demo take, you know what I mean? Like, so, like I said, Most did not sound inspired, I'm like, okay, like, now that's a cool first take. Now go back in the booth and do it the right way. You know what I mean? Like, it just I didn't feel the energy. I didn't feel the excitement. Like, he sounded bored. Most Def sounded bored. Like, he didn't want to be rapping. And my thing is, like, it's not even about him not sounding like Black on Both Sides Most or a raucous Most or anything like that. Because I like the ecstatic. You know what I mean? And his rhyme patterns is pretty much the same from what he was doing on the ecstatic, which was incredibly dope. The difference is he doesn't sound inspired. Like, he sounds lazy. He doesn't sound like he sounds like he don't want to be rapping. Right? Then that leaves Talib. Talib by default, right? By default, sounded the best on the album. But it's not really saying much, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, like, my first listen, I was like, damn, like, Talib is really the standout on this album. But then on my next listens, I'm like, well, that's because the beats are lackluster and Most sounds bored. So by default, Talib sounds the best, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's saying much. So yeah, overall, I give that joint incomplete. You know what I mean?
Never in the history of my life,
Ever.
I have been discussing hip hop for 38 years.
Got it.
I have never heard someone give something an incomplete.
Yo,
Eddie
that's
has just given Black Star this nigga went college professor on you and hit you with the motherfucking eye. That nigga hit you with the crooked eye of incomplete. Trey Lee, the Philadelphia legend. You're muted. What's going on, good brother?
My apologies, man. It's been a long, hectic day. As y'all can see, I got on my fresh Christmas pajamas. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
It's
that's
all,
what we doing. You know what I mean?
it's
yeah,
all good, brother.
that's where we at. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good, brother. Have you had a chance to hear the new Black Star?
No.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna come
so
back.
far, it's got like a.
Well, Porsche gave it a Nas. Porsche gave it a Nas, which is a one mic. You know what I mean? Eddie just gave it a crooked eye. I done got new names now for shit. Like, that's gonna be what we call incomplete from now on. The crooked eye.
I've heard so many, like, a lot of my friends, I won't even say their names on this because they're in the industry, and if you know who I know, then you know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they were pretty perturbed, right? And so based off of that, and it wasn't just that particular person, but others, based on that, it's like, you know what? And he kept saying, yo, man, just listen to it. I was like, nah, I'll wait. I'm good. I'll get around to it if I ever get around to it.
How many mics did Ev give it? I missed
I didn't
that.
even know. I can't. My thing is, just to go back, the name of that album, the name of the track was My Favorite Band. That's the one that has a different beat. You can find it on YouTube on the Dave Chappelle joint. But I'm with Eddie. I'm like, it's incomplete. It's like you giving me this 8-track album that you did in your grandma's garage.
I heard the mixes are awful. I heard the mixes are awful.
Awful.
It's awful. It's an awful. It's just everything about it. It's just like, yo, you made me wait for this. For this?
Hold on. We gonna get on that.
They should have sent it to Young Guru, but I don't know if he would have saved it because both sounded bored.
That's we're gonna get to that. Rel, I know you listened last because I fucked around and just told Rel about this like 10 minutes before the show started. Do you have any take on what you heard so far?
So what I heard so far is just poor quality, man. Like I've only listened to it once, so of course I'm not going to give it a mic rating or nothing. But the quality is bad, bro. Like,
that's what I heard.
It sounds like a bad demo, bro. Like,
that's what I heard.
It's just, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie, and the stands probably get at me, but the beats were, mid, bro. Like,
that's what I heard.
Like,
honestly,
yeah.
I thought the production was the least of the problems. Like, I would say the production was better than the one mic comes from the production for me. I don't know.
I could see that, but the quality just I can't even really hear it right. Like, it's
no. Wait a minute, bro. Yo, Porsche, we're not gonna let you just skate around that. Was it hot or not? Was the beats hot or not, man? We're not gonna let you just dance around that, man.
They were mid at best. To me, they were mid at best.
It wasn't.
But
it wasn't bad.
Trust me, I got. Since Eddie wanted to go college professor, I got a whole dissertation here. I'm gonna let Rel go, and then I have a whole dissertation on this album.
It's like, how do you put out your, like, so I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I sent a song I was working on to Kill. And I said it to Trey Lee. I sent Kill when I first did it, and he told me, you need to fix this on your vocals, you need to do this, that. Like, how do you put out some shit that sounds like not mixed? It didn't get mixed at all. Like, it just sound, you know what I'm saying? Like, you did that on the Fisher Price John where you put the John in. You know, that's what it sounded. Very poor quality, bro. Like I was.
He said the Fisher Price John.
Yeah, the John where you just get the mic in. You know what I mean? Yeah, that shit was great.
I hope to make it to Philly and like the Fisher Price John.
And I love Mos Def, bro. Like so.
I do too. This is why I was so upset.
There's a lot of hurt people out here. That's the thing. That's what I'm finding. There's a lot of hurt because I'll be honest.
Yo, man.
Most is dope to me. Quali, you know, he can rhyme, but for me is not just. But I'm not a super duper Black Star fan. You know what I'm saying? But for those that are, y'all are hurt. Y'all are crushed. Like, oh my God, what just happened? You know what I mean? But I just wanted to interject that.
Here's the wild thing. This is what I'll start with. I've waited 23 years for this album.
23 years.
I want people to understand something. I'm a quote Melly Mel. A child is born with no state of mind. Okay? That means a child was born. And now this child has just graduated with his master's degree. That's how long I have waited for this Black Star album. That someone had a kid. That kid has grown up, got his master's degree. That's how long. And you make somebody wait 23 years for this? That's like a shorty. How do I edit this? That's like a shorty telling you what she's gonna cook for you when she gets over there. And you waiting all day. She talking all this shit. Oh, this cooking. Oh boy, this chicken. And you get it. And it's like, this was the chicken I was waiting for all day. This was the meal that you was just talking shit about, and you was gonna put it on me and blah blah. This is the chicken. Like, first of all, I've told somebody this. This sounds like a Dave Chappelle skit. You know when Dave Chappelle would have a music artist? This sounds like Dave Chappelle and Madlib driving around Brooklyn. They see Mos and Talib at the bus stop. They get in the car. Madlib is playing beat CDs, and these two niggas in the back seat just rhyming back and forth. And then they rhyme for 29 minutes. They're like, boom, album done. That's exactly what this shit sounds like. Dang. Like the same way when Dave Chappelle was driving around and Mos was doing the joint on the ledge. That's what this sounds like. It sounds with what we all talked about. Kendrick Good Kid, Mad City. What was that joint called? Backseat Freestyle. When he was like, "Yo, I got some beats for you, nigga. Get your freestyle on." That's what this sounds like. Yes, sir. Trey.
So, are you saying? And for everybody that heard the album, does it sound like that they? So I guess you're saying that it sounds like they didn't even put forth any type of effort.
Here's
Your
the
Honor,
thing.
they
I don't
did not
believe
put
that.
forth any type of effort, Your Honor.
I don't believe that there are any songs on this album. I believe it feels like Mos just said, "Yo, I'm around for 30 minutes, and y'all cut this shit up however you want to cut it up, and throw it in Pro Tools and match the shit up." I said on Twitter the other day, it sounded like Mos would have rather been getting a colonoscopy than sitting here rhyming. It sounds like he would rather be getting a root canal than being here. And then somebody hit me to your point, that was done in hotel rooms and they wanted that lo-fi sound. And it's so ironic because I posted this album this week on Twitter and I said, while everybody is jumping up and down on this lo-fi bandwagon, nigga, this is lo-fi. This right here is what started lo-fi. You know what I mean? So you can go into a studio. Here's the thing, man. I'm in a quote duck from the 5 Heartbeats. If we ain't gonna do it right, then let's not do it at all. That's just my main thing. If we want to do an album together again, let's do it right. Let's do it right. And it just sounds like Ev, to your point, Talib has been talking about this album for at least 5 years. Bare minimum, if not longer. It was, the new Black Star album is done. Madlib did it. New Black Star album is done. Madlib did it. Da-da-da-da. So this album has probably been recorded over 6 years ago. If he's been talking about it for 5 years, it was probably recorded 6 years ago. It sounds like, and I had to give a shout out to my man at skinny_black009. He called that shit a hair nigga beat tape. Like, goddamn, nigga, stop leaving here, nigga, take this beat tape. That nigga called it a hair nigga beat tape. Like, that's what it sounds like. Like, man, they kept calling it like, nigga, just take this shit. Just Take these beats and just go do whatever the fuck you want with these joints, man. Just leave me alone. Stop bugging me for these beats. Because there's no way you can listen to Bandana and then listen to this and even say these beats are on the same level. People are getting at me like, well, Kill, the rappers pick the beats, and you're 100% right. Pusha kind of touched on it. He said, yo, you know, Madlib sent me some beats, but it was just some chops. They weren't really done. And for this album, I wanted to be produced. And he was like, that's because Pusha was supposed to do an album with Madlib, and people were saying that. That's kind of what this beat tape sounds like. That maybe some of these joints was joints that maybe Madlib had started, that they were just ideas. I'm seeing producers are all different. Amir was saying how Pete may send him over just a drum track, and the whole beat hasn't been built out, and Pete wants Amir to rhyme over that, and then Pete will then build the beat around Amir. So I see producers have different ways. So this just sounds like, if I'm taking what Pusha said with, I got a beat tape, but they've kind of just like chops and they weren't done, and that's not what I was trying to do. That seems like what they did, and like Eddie said, kind of like they never went back to Madlib to like get the other half of it. It's like if your wife is cooking spaghetti and she just made the noodles and you just decide to eat the noodles and didn't go back to get the ground beef and the spaghetti sauce, like it doesn't sound finished. And what people are saying is, Mo will Kill, to your point, Mos and Talib rhyming over Madlib beats, even in the backseat of the car on the Dave Chappelle skit, is better than 80% of the hip hop we get right now.
But it's not.
I beg to differ. I feel like you're trying to do I should be happy. I'm on a deserted island, and nigga, you got a cracker. Enjoy that cracker.
Yo,
maybe. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to get this. Yo, my bad. I didn't mean to interrupt. My thing is, album is so disappointing. It's scary. It's scary that you can do all of this and there's nobody around you to be like, that's not the one. It's to a point. This
who's going to tell them? Who's going to tell them it's not the one? though? This is
that's the thing.
That's what I was going to ask.
The people that's around you are not really. They're not really your people like that. Because the people, when I called Kill, I was in the airport when I heard it, and I was like, yo, when I finish this project, I'm going to send it to you, and I need you to give me the real rawest review that you can give me, because I know if I send you some shit, you're gonna be honest. Yep. Because that's the reason why you in my cipher. If you're just a yes man, you don't need to be nowhere near me, for the simple fact this is what happens. You take all this time to put this product together, and there's nobody told you like, nah, that shit, you shouldn't put that shit out like that.
So basically, but you trust Kill to tell you that.
Yes.
I put the onus back on Mos and Talib. If what you guys are saying what you're saying, then that means they don't trust anybody in their circle, maybe other than each other, to tell them that this is not it or this is it. You see what I'm saying? So the onus goes right back to them. You know what I mean?
What were you gonna say, Eddie?
Yo, so have y'all heard the I think it was the anniversary edition of 36 Chambers, and they had like some bonus tracks, right? So if you look on your streaming service, they have an anniversary edition, right? They have the original version of Method Man, METHOD Man. And I tell you, Meth sounds kind of trash on that joint. But if you know, the version that we all know and love, the one that they redid, sent him back in the booth, you know, got his swag, got his energy, right? If you listen to the original version, he sounded flat. Like he had no bounce, like that Method Man bounce that he does, you know, that we grow to love. He had none of that. And so, you know, someone told him, either it was RZA or the rest of the clan members, that like, nah, this ain't it, go back and do it again. That's what they needed, man. That's what Mos needed. I feel like Mos needed that for his energy. I feel like Talib needed to rewrite some of this stuff, and someone needed to tell him that this whole thing needed to be engineered. It needed to be mixed, mastered, and engineered. You know, all of that. It was unfinished.
The point that I hear from you, and this is what I feel like when people make excuses for things, because here's the thing. We do Apartment 5B album, and I mix it. I'm not an engineer by any means. I'm a producer first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. We can go to 20 before I even fuck with Pro Tools. The funny thing is, if we all did an album with Trey and Ev and Rel rhyming and Porsche singing the hook and Eddie DJing, if it's not engineered right, people would be tearing that shit apart. People would be tearing the shit apart. Why is Ev vocals higher than Trey's? But when Most and Talib do it, yo, because last night, because I put something up like, yo, this is the album I've been waiting 23 years for. Nah, this ain't it. And, you know, mad niggas are replying and Black Star is trending. And if you clicked on Black Star, if you go to Twitter and just put in Black Star, you will see nothing but praise for this album. Nothing but praise. Really? Like, if you bored, put in Black Star into Twitter, there is nothing but praise. Oh my God.
I'm hearing that from anybody.
Madlib is this, Most Def is that, Talib is
and
this.
And they are.
No, but they're talking about for this album.
Yeah, that's
a lot of the younger cats, which is the crazy thing. It's the younger cats that are praising this album.
It's younger cats, and I know a couple of older dudes who we all follow who are championing this album, I feel.
Kill, you know how this shit works, man. I mean, there's certain people that just going like you. It's an excuse, but there's just certain people that are just going to get grace. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's grace to some point.
It's because of who they are. You know,
right? It's grace to some point, but I think it goes back to that when somebody said, "Well, I feel like I hate when people say things like, well, Most sounded like this is still better than 90% of the other music that's out." And I feel like that becomes the excuse. And I'm just always like, and it goes back to expectations. I want to talk about this because somebody was saying something about they didn't have expectations for this. And I'm just like, but if you're a Talib and Most and Black Star fan, how can you not have expectations for that? I'm like, I'll give you a great example. If you come to me and say, Kill, who is the best place in Philly to get my beard shaped up from? I need to get my beard shaped up. And I tell you this person, aren't your expectations going to get your beard shaped up? Your expectations going to be high. You're going to be like, yo, Kill told me this is the best boy in Philly to go to for a cut and a shape up. And people are like, well, no, I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't have high expectations. I would wait to see what it turned out. Come on, dog. Then why ask me then? Just go to whoever the fuck you want to go to then. Because if I send Porsche to D'Alessandro's, guess what? She's going to be expecting a 5 mic cheesesteak. She's not going to be going there like, oh, well, maybe it's good. Maybe it's bad. No,
because you recommended it. Because
right.
You recommended it.
And that's the greatness. So again, like I tell people, we don't want to go to a game to see Steph Curry drop 19 points and shoot 2 for 23 from the 3. No. Because why? Because for an average NBA player, that would be great. 19 points. But he's not average. He's the greatest shooter ever. He's one of the greatest basketball players ever. So when you save up your money to take you and your family to the game and you spend $600, $700, $800, you want to see Steph hitting shots from the fucking logo. You want to see this dude doing amazing things. Why? Because it's Steph. Well, Most to me is one of the greatest MCs ever.
Absolutely.
Ever. I remember when Big died and everybody was like, Jay's next. I was the lone person saying, nah, I think Most Def is next. I think Most Def could be the next dopest MC. So yes, I expect greatness, and I don't understand how you can't expect greatness from the greats. Like, I don't know anybody who goes to see Jordan play in his highlight days and just be like, oh, okay, Jordan, if Jordan gives me 12, I'm happy. Like, can we stop with that? Like, where does that exist? If you take your wife to some super duper expensive steakhouse, you're not going in there like, oh, okay, well, if I get a Golden Corral steak, I'm good. You know what I mean? No, you are going because it's a 5-star restaurant. You're going in for the amount of money you're spending for this steak. You are expecting the best goddamn steak you ever had. So I don't understand this whole, I don't have expectations. I get that for a new group.
Sure.
For a new group, I get that. If you and your wife are just out in Rockville and you're like, hey, babe, I've never been to this spot. Let's go try it out. I get it. No expectations. But if this is one of the steakhouses you have been hearing about, this is one of the greatest steakhouses in the entire DMV, how do you go to this steakhouse and not expect to get an incredible steak? I just don't understand that. Does that make sense? Or
no,
do people feel that way? Like, do you if you think Mos is one of the greatest MCs, I'm expecting greatness. I think Madlib is one of the greatest producers ever. I'm expecting greatness. You know what I mean?
Good. Even if you don't give me great, give me at least good.
But see, here's the thing. And I will say this about this album. Porsche, you gave it 1 mic. Eddie and Ev gave it incomplete. I'll give it 3 mics. I think it's a good album.
Three out of what?
No.
3 out of 5.
Son. No.
I feel you.
Wait. Sorry. I have to interject here. So
yes.
What you're telling me is, give me 3 other albums you give 3 mics to.
Please.
Just
Yes.
anything.
They really don't. They really, I really don't.
Just give me any albums of anybody.
Any
albums that you give
comparative
3 mics
analysis,
to.
please.
Because this is what's
happening.
happening is that when you give it a mic rating, you have to imagine your mic ratings are shelves, right? And those shelves are filled with all the albums that you've given said rating or said.
Thank you, Gordon.
You're telling me that you're going to take this. You're taking this Black Star album and you're putting it on the same shelf as an album that's complete, mixed, mastered, engineered correctly. Producers are performing. They're
here's the thing.
Hold on, boy. You gotta watch this guy. As soon as he starts this, here's the thing. That's one of
the dead ass y'all. Here's the thing.
Because it's the same thing I tell people when they're like, "Oh, Nasir or I don't know what is a freaking terrible
but here's the wild part.
What is that Kanye album that looks like the mountains? What is that Kanye album that has the mountains?
You're talking about something about I think I'm bipolar.
No.
Like that was
the one that has. Anyways, let's just call it Life of Pablo. So
what is another 3 mic
album?
Okay, let me answer the question. I don't know because most albums don't get 3 mics from me. Like, that's not a great rating to me. Like, 3 is, here's how I rate shit. 1 is whack, 2 is aight, 3 is good, 4 is dope, 5 is classic.
It's good.
I think it's a good album.
Give me another 3. Give me another good album.
I don't know another 3.
Here's what breaks my heart, you guys. This is what breaks my heart is Kill will probably give All Eyes on Me 3 mics. And I want to dive into
I won't give All Eyes on Me 3 mics.
Want to get on a chair and dive into
I won't give All Eyes on Me 3 mics. But the thing is that the thing
makes it good though, Kill? What makes it good?
Here's the thing. It's not. All I'm saying for me is it's not trash.
Every time
then that means it should be.
You gotta watch it.
1.
Here's the thing, man.
But to me, it's not like when people see it and people are like, "Damn, Kills it that bad," and I'm like, "No, it's a good album. I can listen to it." But the thing is that for me, I expected 5. I expected a 5. I mean, because I don't think the rhymes are trash. I don't think the beats are trash. I said earlier, I think the beats are mid. Mid to me would be middle. The middle between 5 and 0 would be 2.5 to 3. So I don't think the beats are trash. I don't think Madlib's beats are trash. I said they're mid. And that I expected.
The other thing is you are the one who said that you go by the source rating scale, right?
Right.
So if you look up what is 3 mics,
well, you gotta understand that. What I mean by that, what I mean by I go by the source rating scale.
We got fact checkers.
No. I go when I say by the source. When I say the source mic rating scale, I'm talking about 5. Now I don't care what the source wrote. I'm telling you, 1 mic for me is whack, 2 is aight, 3 is good, 4 is dope, 5 is classic. I don't care what Dave Mays and Bazito said. I'm just using the 5 mic, and I'm telling you what the mics mean for me. For me, again,
stand it up against something.
But here's the thing, Trey. I don't know too many 3 mic albums like that because most of the music that comes out there, I'm looking through my phone right now, and I'm like, everything that I see that I'm listening to is
any of the Nas albums. Any of the Nas albums are 3.
Okay.
Here's the wild part. I'm the only person who likes the Nasir album. Like, I like that most people don't like. Most people hate that Nasir album with the Cop Shot the Kids, the one that Kanye did. I liked it. Y'all know me. I like shit that most people don't like. I like Chance the Rapper last album.
Would you give that Cot Shop the Kid?
Probably 3.5.
You gave that a 3.5. So
I listen to that on the norm. I go back and listen to that. So here's the thing. My track record is I like music that most people don't hate. I mean, that most people do hate. Like that Nasir, I don't know anybody else but me, Kanye, and North who like that fucking album. Nas don't even like that.
North.
So
yeah, like the daughter liked it. Like that's just me. Y'all joked on me for at least a year about liking that Last Chance the Rapper album. I like shit. I like the Life of Pablo shit.
What about the Jay-Z album before 444? What was that joint?
I don't even get me like. Was that the one with the Magna Carta? Magna Carta.
What'd you give that?
I probably gave that about a 3.5. I didn't hate that the way most people did. I like that joint. Like, so again, I'm infamous for liking stuff that other people don't really fuck with like that. Like, I know Nas fans who are like, yo, kill that Nasir shit was trash. I ain't giving it 1 mic. I gave it 3.5. Music speaks to us all differently.
I mean, giving something one. I think giving something 1 mic.
I just am flabbergasted at how mid is 3 mics and not 2 between 2 and 2.5. Like on a 5 mic scale kill, 2.5 is a 50%. That's 50%.
So then it's a little bit better than if you want me to give it a 2.5, I'll give it a 2.5. But a 0.5 mic to me isn't that much different. Like 2.5 to 3, like nigga, that's like a C is 70, a 70 to a 75. And no, a C is 70 to 74. Oh fuck, I don't forgot grades.
Listen, all I'm saying is that 3 mics.
Here's the thing: a D is a 70 to a 74. Then a C is a 75 to a 79. So if a kid is on the 74,
I thought D was like a 65 to 70.
Nah, that was an F. Not in Philly. Once you got to the 60s, that was the Fs.
Nah, 65 low was an F.
I wish you. Well, you know what? I wish you tell Miss Rosenberg that in fucking 11th grade because that bitch made me go to summer school for 68. So I wish it was. So trust me, it's not. Here's the thing, Porsche. Look at this on vinyl. That means I like this. That most people hate the Life of Pablo. I actually went out and brought it on vinyl. I like stuff that people don't like.
808s and Heartbreak. So you get that.
I get that for. I love 808 and Heartbreak.
Needs help doesn't stand out. That's like a very good description for this album. It needs help.
I think one thing that's messing it up is because y'all gave it like half a mic and 1 mic. So like his
I'm coming off as the oddball out. Like Porsche gave it 1 mic. These two said it was incomplete, and then I come in with it's a 3, and the shit sounds crazy, and it may be crazy. It may be crazy,
I haven't heard
but
it.
again,
I can't.
But again, like I said,
I'm personally just completely shocked that an album that we've all agreed isn't mastered.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing.
Ironically, isn't.
But Porsche, you gotta understand. But you gotta understand. For me, those things don't matter for me because I'll give you a great example right here. I'm gonna pull quick.
I gotta peace out, y'all. I gotta peace out.
Ev, you always do this. What do you mean?
All right, I'll tell you what. Give me 15 minutes. I'll be right back.
Yeah, come on back. There you go. See, Trey had to bully you to come back. Here's the thing, Porsche. You see this album? 5 mic classic, straight out the jungle. One of the most horribly mixed albums in hip hop history. Hold tight.
Okay.
Most of the music in the 80s was horribly mixed because
that was the soundscape then.
Right. But hold tight. What I'm saying is it was the soundscape just because people didn't know what they were doing, which is why we started getting all the 20th anniversaries reissued and we're going to remaster it. I don't want it remastered. I like the mistakes. So you didn't hear me one thing come out my mouth about it being engineered wrong or mixed wrong. I don't care anything about that. Trey, I don't know if your shit was professionally mixed when I heard fucking Creeping and all the shit you was doing. It didn't matter to me. Half the shit I used to play on Strictly Hip Hop, niggas would come straight from the studio and be like, yo, kid, here's my new song. And I'm like, yo, the shit hot, play that shit. I don't care if it's not mixed right or if it don't sound right. So you gotta understand, for me, none of that stuff matters to me. Like my man said, even again, to me, what my analogy was, Dave Chappelle, Mad Lib, playing beats with Moose and Talib freestyling in the back seat. That's worth 3 mics to me. I'm going to tune in for that episode of the Chappelle Show. I'm going to tune in. Does it make a good album? No. It doesn't, because I want to create songs. I want to hear, when you're coming off Reflection, the first Black Star, you're thinking about Brown Skin Lady, you're thinking about Respirations, you're thinking about Children's Star. You're seeing the songs that were put together. So again, with the example I gave, if you told me, Kill, there's a half an hour of Mos and Madlib and Talib and Mos driving around Brooklyn freestyling, I'm all in. Let me hear it. And to me, there's nothing. And to me, Mos didn't sound trash on this. To me, Talib sounded like Talib. Talib always to me is Talib. Either you fuck with him or you don't. I honestly don't think Talib has ever had a whack bar in his life, because his shit is always there. He is consistently, that nigga is Chick-fil-A. That nigga is consistently gonna be your waffle fries, your chicken sandwich, and your fucking lemonade. Consistent. So I can't listen to this and say, yo, Talib sounded whack. I can say Mos sounded uninspired, but I agree with what my man said. An uninspired Mos still sounds good to me, but it's not great. So to me, I'm let down because I expected 5 mics. It's 23 years. This is Mos Def, one of the greatest MCs ever. It's Madlib, one of the dopest producers ever. It's Talib, one of the most consistent MCs ever. You put those 3 together, you should have 5 mics. They remind me of that team that year. The Clippers had that team that everybody thought was going to go win the chip, and they got put out in the second round. At the end of the day, they had a great season. They were the #1 seed. Doc Rivers was their coach.
Come on, Lob City. Lob City.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, to me, that's what this is. That's still a good season. You had a great season. You went to the second round of the playoffs. That's still a good season, but it's a letdown because you didn't win the chip. So to me, that's why this is a letdown for me, because it wasn't the 5 mic classic that I was expecting. These 3 greats. We're talking about one of the dopest MCs ever, dopest producers ever, and one of the most consistent MCs. Even if you don't like Talib, he is still one of the most consistent MCs ever. You put all 3 of them together, that should be 5 mics. And it wasn't. Eddie?
Here's the thing, man. Like, I can't give him that pass. You know why? Because I would say,
but see, for me, Eddie, it's not a pass. That's where we have to define the words. I don't give niggas passes. Y'all know me. I will tell anybody if something don't right. But I'm just saying, I just want, before you say I can't give it that pass, I'm not giving it a pass. It's just how I feel. I'm not giving it a pass. I'm just saying this is how I feel about it.
So let me qualify real quick. I want to qualify because, I would say that Bodie James and Alchemist put me to sleep, right? Okay. And I think most people would agree. And to me, Mos and Madlib
straight up bullied Ev back, and now Ev's drinking. So now we're really back.
I'm ready. I'm back and I'm ready.
This nigga ain't even take 15 minutes. This nigga went to Brooklyn, came right back, and sat down.
I had to put the little bit in the bed. He in the bed.
My man Ev, that's right.
Mos and Madlib were giving me Alchemist and Bodie James vibes. Like, they were boring me to death. I'm gonna keep it 100.
But Eddie, this is the great thing about it. What did we just talk about with Dan with Porsche? The song she hates is the one with Rihanna. That's my favorite song. We all just hear things differently. So if that puts you to sleep, Eddie, think of how many people we go back and forth with about Bodie James being dope as fuck, and we're like, right. He puts me to sleep. Like, so again, I'm not like, yo, like that's fucked up that y'all gave it a 1 or you gave it an incomplete or anything like that.
I can't even consider it an album. Like, I can't even really take it seriously as an album. You give me, it's like you put a plate on my, you put, like, go back to the food thing. You put a plate down that's clearly mac and cheese, and you telling me it's filet mignon. It's not. I'm looking, it's noodles and cheese in this joint. This is not filet. It's not even an album. So it's not an album.
But here's this. Let me ask this.
Hold on.
Why is it not an album?
Why
is it not an album? All right, sorry, Trey. What's up, Trey?
No. Ed, I want you to finish, and then I'm gonna come after Ed because I want to piggyback off of this point that you're making right here. Go ahead.
So just go to that point. The thing is, you have not actually given me an album to actually even to truly give it enough of a critique. You served me something, and like Porsche said in the beginning, off of your, and I feel some kind of way about this because y'all know better, y'all MCs, y'all know better. You served me something off of a name that you did 20-something years ago, and you passing it off as if it's something else, and you know it's you would. I'm gonna stop there because you know, go down a little bit of a deep hole, and I won't go on too much of a tangent. But you didn't give me an album. It's not an album.
So then my question becomes, and this goes back to what you just said, Ev, and then going back to you, Kill, based on how you're critiquing this album. Is this just beats and rhymes, or is this an album?
It's not an album. It's barely beats and rhymes.
It's disjointed, Trey. It is a disjointed project. I'll call it a project.
But what I think we all have to do is, we all know Kill. I got a million analogies. We all have a different definition for the same word. So that's why I said, Ev, why is this not an album to you? Okay. Is it the amount of songs? It's because it's not mixed? Why is it not an album?
It's not even about the songs in the mix, though that does play a part. Because, you know, at one point in time there was 36 Chambers and we all loved that shit, and that shit wasn't mixed well either. But my thing is this: it's not an album, number one, because
hold on, can we just look? I just want that to hover in the air for a minute. 36 Chambers was not mixed well at all.
Nope.
I just want that to hover in the air for a minute, that it was not mixed into the stage. Evil D has said multiple times they had no idea what the fuck they were doing. Shit was just all in the red, just bass, blow the speakers. That was how they were mixing. So Into the Stage and 36 Chambers were horribly mixed.
But that's why
you're right.
Hold tight. I just want to make sure, because y'all know me. I don't do opinions. I'm doing facts. That is a fact. That two of the most important hip hop albums ever were not mixed right.
That's why I brought it up. But dealing with those facts, the difference between the two is 36 Chambers and Into the Stage were actually dope projects that they took their time to put together. Regardless if they had the funding or whatever the case may be to actually get it mixed or not, they took their time to put together something dope.
All right, pause right there for a second. Let me. All right, good. No, let me finish this last little statement. I just need a pen.
Right.
So you're saying the difference is they took their time. That's what you just.
I'm about to address that, because I know your question was coming. They took their time to put together a dope project. Most and Talib had all the time in the fucking world to put together at least a good project, and they did not. They did not execute a good project. They did not execute a satisfactory project at that. I'm not saying it's whack, but actually, you know what? I'm borderline saying it's whack. I'm borderline saying that. And the only thing that's saving that is, like I said, I'm the type of MC, I'm the type of listener that I believe there's certain categories in hip hop. I don't need the street stuff right now. I don't need the drug stuff right now. I don't need the braggadocio right now. I need something other. And when I heard them, and like I said, everything goes back to that Most track I told you I heard off the Dave Chappelle joint, and the beat is different, and Moses' ride on that track is different, and it's dope, and that's what set it off. And you get, as far as content wise, you're giving me something more. You're giving me something other. On this project, you just gave me whatever. It's like, yo, you had these things. I don't know how much time you took into writing it. I don't know how y'all putting it together. I don't know how many times you listened to it. I don't know if you let your mom hear it. You going off your mom critique. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, yo, you did not put together anything actually good, and you took 20-something years to do it. And you're telling me in your marketing that you took 20-something years to do this, and it sounds like you did it yesterday in the car on the way home. That's what it sounds like.
Now, Ev, I just want to say, because you know the marriage coach of me, I write stuff down. They took their time to make their albums dope. For me, I don't define if something is technically an album if it's dope. I've seen horrible movies. I can't sit there and say, what's the movie about the chick who was fucking the creature from the Black Lagoon who won an Oscar? She was fucking the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Monsters Ball?
No, you're talking about the cat from Philly, the director. Dude,
I don't know. All I know is she was. I don't know. But I think it's no. I don't think Sandra Bullock is in it. Here's the great thing that I love about Twitter. If you know anything about me, I will put in Twitter exactly Oscar.
Well, hey, Ken, while you're doing that, I'm actually telling you why it's not an album. One, because the track completion doesn't make any sense.
The Shape of Water. This is, people make fun of me for this, but I literally, if you ask Google what you think, instead of trying to make it sound good, I just put in Google Oscar movie fucking the creature from the Black Lagoon, and it came up The Shape of Water. I thought it was horrible, but I can't sit here and say that's not a movie just because it was bad.
I'll tell you why. It's not just because it's not good. It's because the lyrics don't add up to what the actual song content is about.
Okay, how about this? Let me go back. Let me parallel with you. The lyrics don't go back and forth. For me, in that movie, I thought the script was horrible. None of these lines lined up to the.
But this is the thing. If we critique every single part, and in that part there's a justification for it, that means anything can be justified, and anything in your perspective can be good.
No, but Ev, here's the thing. If you drop an album and you call it an album, whether I like it or not, it's still an album. If my wife cooks mac, if T cooks mac and cheese, even if it's fucking horrible, it's still mac and cheese. I can't sit here and say, what is this bullshit on my plate? This ain't mac and cheese. I may not like it, but it's still mac and cheese. So like that's what I'm saying. I can't sit here and say it's not an album.
How many songs? How many songs?
It's 9 songs.
Was it like 9?
9 songs. 9 songs. Again, just for everybody, just so we can resonate. Illmatic had 9 songs. So before somebody wants to jump out the window and say 9 songs don't make an album,
I'm not saying all that. Like I'm literally talking about the content and the quality of the work.
Right, I feel you, but to me that doesn't. But Adam, if I'm a painter and I do a horrible painting, you can't say it's not a painting because you don't like it.
I can say it's not an album because the reason
why that's your definition.
I have a criteria. Look, I have a criteria of what an album is and what an
album you.
I can only speak from my perspective.
It's what it is for you.
Of course, I'm only speaking from my perspective. I'm not saying it's not an album to the rest of the world. That's ridiculous. Right. To me, it's not an album. It's the reason why I can't give you any kind of mic status. That's the reason why I'm saying incomplete, because it's not an album. To my standards of an album, this is far from it. You gave me barely a mixtape.
To your standards, what does an album have? Because I wrote down what you said. I can repeat it back. The difference between this and 36, because first it's mixed. Quality. Hold tight. First everybody said it's mixed horribly. That's why it's not good.
Yeah, Akil, if you go back and listen to this tape, the first thing I said is it's not about the mix, because 36 Chambers was not a great mix album.
Okay, so cool. So it has nothing to do with the mix. Why is it not?
No. I'm not saying that it's not an album because of the mix. I'm saying you can add that to the list of things for sure.
But we shouldn't, because 36 is an album, so we can't add it. We can't.
No. 36 Chambers, I'm still saying, was a good project. So you're going right past the quality.
No, what I'm saying, Ev, is
you can't jump over the quality.
You're defining an album by if it's good or not. Because you just said 36 is fine because it's good.
I'm defining the album off of the work critique, the quality of what you put into it.
And why can't it be the album that you don't like?
Album that I don't like. There's plenty of albums that I don't like.
No. I'm saying, why can't this be an album that you don't like?
Because it's not an album that I don't like, because number one, I don't feel like it's a completed project. I feel like it's an incomplete project at the end of the day. So
now, what makes it incomplete? Why is it an incomplete?
We just went through that part, but we can go back.
You said because they didn't take the time to make the album.
They didn't take the time to make a quality project. It's like they didn't take the first thing I heard when I finished was, y'all barely took time to actually put any real work into putting something quality out. So because you didn't put anything quality out, I can't even give you. You can't give me a paper and tell me so. It's a. What's that shit you gotta write?
Have you ever been to an art museum and seen a painting that is just simplistic as shit? Does that mean it's not a painting? So do you be like, oh, that's not a painting because it's the shit is simplistic? It's just a black dot on a white piece of paper?
Simplistic doesn't mean it's not.
No. I'm just asking a question. If you're at an art museum and you see a painting that's all white with just one black dot in the middle, would you be like, that's not a painting because they didn't take their time with it? All it is a black dot? Would you, ASR 10, like Word is Born to Jesus, would you really be like, that's not a painting? You would say, I'm not even going to critique that because that ain't even painting to me.
This is the thing, though. This is the
no.
thing.
Just before you
no. I'm
just answer the question.
Thing. Okay, so I answer the question. If I go to an art gallery, right, and I see a painting, and I'm saying it has one brush stroke, I'm not going to say it's not a painting. If I can look at that and I can say, yo, I can understand where they were coming from with that, I can actually, even if I don't like it, I can actually say, yo, I can understand the actual what's the technique that they were trying to use in order to get this out. Because don't forget, what you call it did the Headphone Masterpiece, which was an album. It was horribly mixed, but it was an album. Kobe Chestnut, Headphone Masterpiece. He did it recording through a actual headphone speaker, and it's still an album. It's still a better project.
I got it. I think I know what he's saying now.
Porsche, what's up?
I just want to add something. I think where this whole like dialogue and debate is coming from is that when artists don't sound inspired by their own work, and when they cannot give me, when the energy that they're trying to put in does not come through to the listener, it's very, very difficult for the listener to connect on any level to, that's why it sounds like it wasn't finished. Because when an artist, it's almost like, are you guys taking yourself seriously here? You know, like you gotta kind of pass it back to the three, like to them, and be like, are you, like when you hear this, do you sound inspired or do you sound like there's a connection? Because for me personally, like, and I've said this all throughout any album that I've ever talked about as, you know, my favorites or whatever, is that there's a connection, either lyrically or through the instrumental or through all of it, or the collaboration, the chemistry between producer and artist. This, and I've said this since the beginning of the show, this sounds disjointed at every stage. And it's very difficult for someone like Ev, who's an MC, who has the ear, who's looking for that, to see it as a completed album when it's so disjointed. Like, all the ingredients are there. It's like you've got like a array of ingredients, a whole spice cabinet full of spices, but it's not, you know, everything is just, you taste everything independently of each other, and it's not actually blending together, right? So that's where this album fails in coming through to the listener. For you, I can't.
What you just said right there, that's where this album fails for coming through to the listener. That's where this album fails. Hold time.
I consider this an album.
To the listener.
I consider this an album because
you're right. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. This was hard. This is me and Ab arguing like we was on the phone. This is bad radio. This is bad podcasting. Because the reason I say that is because it literally is just a difference of opinion. I'm just saying that it's still an album, even though it's disjointed. Guess what? I've coached married people who are in horrible places. But I'm not gonna sit back and say, damn, you cheating on him and he cheating on you, and that's your kid and that ain't your kid, and this ain't no marriage. It's still a fucking marriage. It's a fucked up marriage, but it's still a marriage. If somebody's a bum, if somebody's a bad basketball player, I'm not gonna say, man, this nigga ain't no basketball player.
But chill,
he's a basketball player. He's just not a good basketball player.
At the end of the day, that's still your perspective, and you got to remember too. I work in the theater world. I'm in the theater world all the time, dance theater world. I see abstract shit all the time. I see incomplete. I see stuff that some people may look at as being incomplete all the time. I can understand the connections to some of these things. I don't see that in this Mos Def and Tyler project.
Right, I feel you. My only thing was, why is it not an album? You could have said it's disjointed, it's whack, it's shit, it's the worst thing I ever heard, blah blah blah. But how is it then not an album? I can say James Harden isn't a great but he's a basketball player. I can say that this.
Have you ever heard anything or seen anything that didn't sound or look finished?
Yes.
What?
But it's still a house. The house ain't finished, but it's still a house. If Trey gets his house built from the ground,
what is a complete? So what is a complete? So that means it's finished. It's not to the standards that you were thinking, but it's still done.
Yeah, here's the thing, bro. I have a billion CDs in front of me right now. Every one of these CDs don't sound completed. Every one doesn't sound 100%. There are some Prince albums that kind of sound incomplete. Like, I'm like, damn, that's all you left me with? But for me, at the end of the day, it's still an album. And I don't want to debate it anymore because it's just a differential of opinion.
It's complete. I'm saying something that doesn't say, what's incomplete? Give me something. No, it have to be an album. It ain't got to be music. Give me something that's incomplete to you.
I'll give you something. So if you go to a restaurant, right, you got a 5-star Michelin star chef or whatever, or 3-star Michelin chef, whatever it is, and they just put some raw ingredients on a plate, hand it over and say, here's your meal. You feel like this ain't no damn meal. That's how I felt with this Black Star album. I felt like they put some raw ingredients on a plate and it's like, here's your meal, eat it. I'm like, what the hell is this? This ain't a meal.
Now, the only thing that I would say about that is, right, I'm gonna get to you, Trey. The only thing that I can say about the only thing that I can say about that, Eddie, is that the only reason why I don't think that's a good analogy is because the raw meat is the fat. Like, if you're giving me raw chicken that's not cooked is a fat. Like I just said before this whole discussion happened, I said put in Black Star on Twitter, and you're gonna see hundreds and thousands of people praising this album. So that's the difference. Y'all hate it. There are people who are out here giving it 5 mics. So it's not like with your analogy of the chicken. I agree with you on that. It's raw. I can't eat it. No matter who picks up this plate, it's raw. What I'm saying with this is, it's the difference between me saying, I've gone to people with Trey knows, Paganos. I've said people to Paganos and they're like, yo, I really don't like the meat. I really don't like it. You know, it's not cut thin enough for me. That's their opinion of it. I think Paganos, and it has fallen off over the years, but I'm just saying that the food is done. The album is done. I'm giving you a cheesesteak. Now, if you don't like it, then that can be cool. But just because the meat doesn't feel, cooked all the way, or this doesn't do that, for me, it's just still a cheesesteak. It can be a whack cheesesteak. It can be an incomplete cheesesteak. It can be a 1 mic cheesesteak, but it's still a cheesesteak. So that's the only difference of opinion. Trey, what's going on?
Yeah, just after listening to this, I think it goes.
Trey's like, I don't even want to hear this shit now, y'all.
Nah, I'm gonna listen. Matter of fact, I want to listen to it now. I want to listen to it now more so than before I got.
Well, I sent it to you. It's in your DM on Twitter. I'm
gonna listen to this when we get off.
To it now, but I think it goes back to your point that you said. Still going back to expectation, right? So when we start talking about albums, what's the expectation of an album? Generally, at least let's use Ev for an example. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ev, your expectation for an album, at least one of the points, aside from the mixing, because we're talking about the technicality of how it sounds sonically. Let's put that. I think with your expectation of an album, it comes down to direction. You got to give me some direction. And with this particular album, for you, there was no direction. So therefore, I can't call this, based on my analysis of what an album is, I can't call this an album. So that's why I asked, was it a collection of beats and rhymes, or was it a collection of songs? Because that's another criteria of an album. Is an album consistent of songs, or is it just putting on some beats and letting people go for it and cutting it off at 3 minutes and 30 seconds and no cohesion in the song itself? Is just spitting bars and that's it. Now, all the other layers of it, how does it sound? Is it whack to me? Is he flowing on the shit? That's irrelevant. Again, this is not I'm just listening to the conversation. But I think it all starts with regards to an album. If you're going to call it an album, I think one of the first layers that Ev is talking about is direction. And they didn't give him any kind of direction. They just gave you beats and bars and intertwining the beats and bars. You're not guiding me anywhere. You're not giving me any type of...
Trey, let me ask you a question. You remember we were on the show once, and you said you were in the studio with someone, and you heard the first Black Thought EP, Streams of Thought, the first one.
Yep.
And all Thought was just doing was just rhyme. No direction, just spitting, not taking me nowhere.
I'm gonna tell you the difference. The difference is, what was the name of this Black Star album? What did they call it?
I think it's called No Time. No Fear of Time.
No Fear of Time. Okay, so that's a direction to me, even with the title. When you start talking about Streams of Thought, nigga, I know what this is off the title. When you say, what is the name of this shit? No Time what?
No Time.
No.
God damn. That's how
No
bad.
fear of time.
No fear of time.
So now I'm already based off the title alone. You that's the direction that's my expectation and direction for me. Off the title of the album, that's your starting point of the direction that I'm going to take going into listening to this album. The streams of thought, it may have just been bars, but it's streams of thought. There's a double.
But I mean, even here's the thing, and y'all all know it's my knock on Thought. He don't rap about shit. He just bars you to death.
That's what I'm.
So but to me, it's not about the title. If Thought's title was called this name of this guy, how the hell do I not remember this title? And y'all done said it 5 times. No fear of time. If that was,
that's a problem.
I said it.
But you gave me 3 months.
That's a problem.
Here's the thing.
But
My
at least hold on, Kill. But that's my point, Kill. At least with streams of thought, again, as an MC, I know it's a double entendre. These are streams. First of all, you're talking about streams.
But Trey, this has always been thought. It's always been thought.
Kill, but let me get it out. Right. But that is exactly. I know what I'm. I know the direction. At least I have the direction with it. I may not like it. I may but at least I got the direct. Oh, nigga, you call this shit streams of thought. That's very witty because I know there's a double meaning to it. But I know what I'm gonna get. I know exactly what I'm gonna get.
Well, guess what? When it was Phrenology, when it was all them other fucking Roots albums, Thought's gonna give you thought. There ain't no goddamn direction.
Okay, no. But see, you talking about Thought in the Roots. That's a band implemented into it, right? So now,
I'm just talking about Thought spitting. When I did my Black Thought Challenge, I had niggas telling me Star was about 8 different fucking songs. That's not good. If somebody writes a song and 8 people tell you it's about 8 goddamn different topics, something's wrong. That's a fact. If I sit here and when Com did Stolen Moments, everybody, what's that about? Somebody broke in Common's crib, he's trying to figure out who did it. It's that cut and dry simple. When 5 different people who are Thought fans tell me that one song is about 5 totally different fucking things, that's a problem.
It may be,
but don't nobody say shit about Thought.
No. But I agree with you. All I'm saying is, at least I have direction. And all I'm saying is,
I don't have direction because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Neither does your fans because they're telling me it's about 5 different things.
Well,
if the GPS, if I say I need to get to Trey's house and the GPS tells me 5 different fucking ways to go and I still ain't at Trey's house, I don't have no direction.
Again, I think
I don't get no direction. This shit told me 5 different ways. What other MC, Trey? Which song can you tell me that somebody gonna tell you 5 different? It means 5 different things. Gangstar is just to get a rep. You think I'm gonna be like, well, Trey, that's about if the skull snapped, that's about if the education system with the politics was divided. No, it's about niggas getting robbed. It's about stick-up kids.
Okay, what I'm saying is, whatever your perception of the direction may be, it's still a direction. And what Ev is saying is, he got nothing. He couldn't even tell you what one of them things. You saying for one album, there may be 5 different interpretations. From what he's telling me is, I got nothing. I can tell you nothing.
Well, shit, I got nothing from Star too, but it's still an album. I don't know what the fuck Thought is talking about.
I'll say this. At the end of the day, because we've done this many times, we've done tangents with Writer's Bench. It comes down to a difference of opinion around what something is and what something is not. It's also a difference of opinion around what our criteria is.
Right, right. And I mean, that's what I said. We all have different definitions for the same word.
At that point, we can talk till we blue in the face, but we're never going to truly see where each one is coming from all the way because we have a different idea. Now, this is my thing, but this album, I love Mos Def and Talib. I waited for this album because that's, like I said, I keep saying that track that I heard on YouTube. Right. I love that shit so much. I waited for this joint and I was excited for it. And I'm not a big Talib fan, I'll tell you off the gate. But what I got, for me, sounded so incomplete. It sounded so incomplete, I cannot even give it a true review because it doesn't sound finished. It sounds like it was rushed, and it doesn't make sense for it to be rushed because it's 20-something years, like they keep saying.
I agree. I agree that's how you feel.
So at the end of the day, as much love as I have for these MCs and this content and wanting this type of content right now, yeah, some of this I'm saying is hurt. Some of this is like, I'm disappointed. I'm a little hurt. because I actually had expectations around this shit without question.
But here's the thing: it's almost like that time me and B.
Let me get it out. I'm almost done. So I just say, of course, some of that emotion is wrapped up into what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, what I listen to, I can't. As many times I'm saying I can't. That's how confused I was on what I got. I sat in the airport last night, night before last, listen to this joint, and I'm like, yo, I don't understand what this is right now. I don't understand what it is that I'm listening to. I just don't understand.
They had to lead you to the water, bro. See,
exactly.
You want to know what's so funny?
You gotta lead them, like.
I didn't. Guess what? And it's so funny because Rel brought it up. When I first heard the Pimp a Butterfly, I didn't know what the fuck I was listening to. I was confused as shit. I didn't know anything. But again, just for me, it was still an album.
But that's a different opinion. That's a different opinion.
Right. And that's why I apologize to the fans watching, because we got caught up in a phone conversation.
No. This is dope. No. This is dope. They had to see this. They got, because I'm sure there's a lot of other.
But at the end of the day, it just comes down to, like I always say, we have different definitions for the same word. Trey's definition of commitment may be different than mine. You know, my marriage may look different than his, may look different than Eddie's, that looks different than Ev's. We all have a different definition. So I was just apologizing because we were just going back and forth like me and Ev have been doing since 15 years old.
The Writers Bench reunion was way more satisfying than the Black Star reunion.
Well, shit, nigga, if you want to get Bezo on here, we gonna be on here till 4 a.m. If you really want to get Bezo back, bro, like, come on, you know. So we would have been arguing. That one time, me and Bezo argued for 2 hours and gave Nasir the same mic rating. It was like, nigga, how we argue for 3 hours and we both give it 3.5?
That was one of my favorite episodes.
How is that humanly possible that we just argued about this album for 3 hours and we give it the exact same rating? Makes no sense. But Bezo can do that. I've seen Bezo argue with another diehard Knicks fan. One day I had all Knicks fans on here and I thought it was going to be a love fest, and Bezo disagreed with every fucking body. But that's Bezo. Love you, Bezo, but you disagree with every fucking body. It just happens. All right, well, I belabor this. If there's time left, if people got to go, I get it. Just real quick.
I got to finish.
Porsche be on her string, you know. Porsche. Yeah. Trey, good to go. We still have 3 more songs or albums that grew on you. If you guys still have your list. Porsche, do you have another joint that grew on you, and why? You might as well just give us your last 3 or however many you have.
I have a song, Daytona 500 by Ghostface. That grew on me. Initially, out the gate, I didn't love that track, but at some point, because I love the Iron Man album. But at some point, I was like, wait a minute. And I know what it was. It was the, like that chorus part, that singing part that I didn't like. It didn't mesh well from what I thought. But then over time, like I just that's one of my favorite songs now ever. Right. In his entire discography. So that one, and then
real quick, let me say something about Daytona. It's funny because I didn't realize it's one of mine, but it is. And for me, it was because it was the producer snob in me. Because it's like, y'all just rhyming over Nautilus? Like, really, RZA, this where we at? Where you just rhyming over dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun? Like, dog, like, where's the creativity? But you're right, after time, it's like, that's when I get my producer snob bag, where it's like, how dare you use, there's a song I think on Ghostface's Fish Scale album, I think it's called The Chant, where he's rhyming over synthetic substitution. And it was just like, we using synthetic substitute, but again, it's the producer snob in me. So I totally agree with Daytona 500, because when I heard that, I was like, come on, bro, we gotta do better than this.
I actually have one more left, and it's Outkast's Stankonia album. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Outkast. Love them, and love most of their projects. But Stankonia, at first, I didn't love it. I liked a couple joints off the album, but over time, again, definitely learned to appreciate it. Again, it's one of those things. Outkast is they're conceptual, and they push the envelope. They do something different. They bring something different, and yeah. So Stankonia, love it now.
All right. No doubt. Ev, you got any other joints that had to grow on you?
Not top of it. Are you saying Ed or Ev? My bad.
Ev.
Not off the top of my head right now, honestly.
All right. You I know you produce too. Have you ever found yourself in your producer snob bag like that? Like how you just use something that's been used a million times before, because I think that stops me from liking a lot of music, or it has in the past, because it's just like for you, I'll give you a great one. Life's a Bitch. I hated Life's a Bitch. Loved AZ's part, but it was just like, yo, how y'all gonna use Gap Band's Yearning for My Love? Like, everything else on here is some exotic, shit nobody's ever heard before, and then you just using Yearning for My Love. Now, of course, I love Life's a Bitch now, but when I first heard it, I hadn't heard Nas's verse for years. Because after AZ went, I would just skip it, because I was like, that shit whack. I don't even want to hear it. And of course, now I love it. So I didn't know if you were ever in like that producer snob bag. Like, how you just gonna Yearning for My Love?
For me, it's the reuse of the hip hop tracks that cats are doing nowadays. Like, I'm a little irritated by that, because it's like it's already a track that's been taken from another thing and reinvented into something, and you just basically taking that and just rhyming on top of it. It's like, it's no creativity to me. So to me, when it comes to production like that, it's like, that's not really, that's borderline. Is it production, or is it just like you take an instrumental and rhyming on top of it?
Yeah, I feel you. The Bull Lucky Day got a song using the music. God, what's that joint? Half Crazy. And I'm like, God damn, isn't that? I guess maybe that joint is 15, 20 years old. I guess it's 20 years old. And I guess that's usually like the sample space. Like, we were sampling from the 70s and the 90s. Yep. So, but it was just like when my assistant was playing it, I'm like, I was like, but this ain't music. And she's like, no, it's Lucky Day. And I'm like, God damn, y'all done jacked music for Half Crazy already. We ain't even got nowhere yet. Eddie, what are some of your joints that you have loved?
I got a couple that's gonna probably surprise some people. Actually, like, I wasn't that tough on DMX at first, man. Like, I thought, like, I didn't get it. Like, it's like, all right, he's yelling, he's growling. Like, I wasn't feeling the Swiss production. Like, Get At Me Dog obviously wasn't Swiss, right? But even then, I was like, this is cool. But then that Dark and Hell Is Hot, eventually just something clicked. And now I love that album. And, obviously DMX's catalog first 5 albums were incredible. But yeah, first, I think it's like when someone brings something that different, sometimes it's like, it's confusing. It's like, it doesn't click.
Eddie, fun fact for you. Everybody watching at home, I've never heard a DMX album.
Damn.
I've never listened to a DMX.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
I've never listened to a DMX album. I've never had any urge.
At the bottom.
I've never put in a DMX.
My album, and then it bumps this one out the way. Can you please listen to DMX?
I have never, because I was just like Eddie. I was like, number one, Get At Me Dog. I'm like, wait a second, that's EPMD, Get Off the Bozak. Where do we do this at? Where do we do? Y'all just jacked EPMD's Get Off the Bozak, and I apologize. Is that nigga barking on an album? I'm a pass on that. I'm gonna pass. I'm a pass. And there's been nothing. And yeah, I've never had an urge. Like I was just saying about the girl, I've never had an urge to listen to a DMX album.
That's wild to me.
I think Dame Grease put some work on that album, man. And yeah, man, it's dope.
Damn, I made Portia turn the goddamn light off. Portia done left the show. Like, I'm appalled. How am I a co-host on this bullshit? Like, this nigga just left. Like, this nigga just said, fuck you. Okay, fuck your couch. This nigga said, fuck your couch. You ain't never heard DMX before? I'm out. Fuck this. It's my letter of resignation.
So then I got two more. Tyler, the Creator. I'll keep this one brief. Like, I didn't really rock with Tyler, the Creator, that much, but like his last couple projects, especially this last one, Call Me Before You Get Lost. Fire for sure. And then the last one was Ransom. So the first thing I heard from Ransom was, I think, the director's cut. I don't know if it was director's cut 3, and people were getting like hype over it, right? And I listened and I was like, I don't get it. Like he's a nasty, like he got a nasty pen, right? Nice. Nasty pen. But I was like, and maybe it was the production So what I did was everyone was telling me like, nah. So what I did was I went back. I had this one night, I was just like playing video games, and I threw on, I was like, all right, let me go back in this catalog. And I went back and I just listened to all his old stuff, like with drums and all that stuff. And I started to get him as an MC. So then I kind of heard his evolution. So then once I got to that Nicholas Craven stuff, it's like, okay, this makes sense. You know, so it started clicking with me.
He reinvented himself, because I remember Ransom from the 18, which is
right
a long time ago. He was
him, Joe Budden and all that.
Joe Budden and Fab and all them.
Yeah.
He was nasty then, but he was more of a punchline guy.
Right.
Like him and Hitchcock, they punchline. So he kind of was off the grid for a while, and then he came back out, and it's nice to see him like reinvent himself and reinvent his career, rejuvenate his career. I'm sorry.
I gotta listen to the whole new album. I was listening to it when I was catching my flight from Cali, and he had a line. I was like, damn. He said, "I know niggas who praise Hova but bang Ether," and I was like, "Ooh,
yeah, that's
like,
so fun."
Damn, like, yo, like you praise this nigga, but then you bang Ether." Trey, what about you, man? Are there any songs?
The entendres on that line, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Ransom is. He said something on Director's Cut 3, like run in your booth. What do you say? Run up on you in the booth, treat your medulla like it's Lincoln. Run up in the booth like it. Nasty. He's nasty.
And he's full of those. He's full of those.
He's nasty.
He's a very cerebral. He's a cerebral MC. Like that's my type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Ev, I would send him to you, but he doesn't have drums, and you banned me from sending you anybody.
I do sound compositions for theater, man. I don't really do a lot of hip hop production, so I'm used to not using a lot of drums. When I put my hip hop on, I want some drums, man. So
I understand. Me too, bro. But he's nice, but I feel you.
Now, he got
Trey, do you have any
songs with drums?
Yeah, on the new joint. Yeah. But I mean, just that Nicholas Craven series, and because Nicholas Craven just is allergic to drums, so you know, with that stuff. Yeah. Trey, do you have any songs or albums that grew on you, and why do you think?
I got two artists actually, and one album. So first artist, man, I don't know why. God rest his soul, but I just could not connect with this brother, right? And it wasn't until after he passed that, you know, I really started paying attention. And this brother was really saying some shit. It may not have been always in the pocket. It may have been, you know.
I think I know where you're going, bro.
Yeah, it may have been just like this, but he was saying some shit. And so now, shit, I go back and listen to the shit constantly. Like, damn, you saying some shit. And that's Guru Keith E. Gangsta.
Yeah.
Like I used to always, I hated the monotone style. I hated, like back then, man, we talking early 90s, man. I just, you know, early, like I just wasn't feeling that. You know, I'm feeling the energy. I wanted energy. Like I wanted, so he just wasn't my cup of tea. But then after he passed, man, it's like, okay, I started digging it. You know, I always loved Mass Appeal. That's my shit. I always loved
Hard to Earn album, though?
Yeah. Right? Like I started going back to that. And so I'm like, yo, I mean, the beats was always tough. Don't come on, Primo. But I just couldn't get with him.
Right.
But then I started listening to what he's saying. And I swear, every song he's saying some shit. Except for, you know, Dwick. Lemonade was a popular drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, beside that, but that was just a fun song. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, this nigga's always saying some shit. So shout out and rest in peace to Google Keith.
Trey, let me say something to that real quick. With Google, I agree with you 100%. For me, people would like, okay, you just giving him props now because he's dead. And that wasn't what it is. Again, if y'all know me, I do not do that. I do not do the dead rappers get better promotion. What it was for me is being a producer, and Premier was like my fucking idol. Whenever I heard Gangstar, I heard the beats first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. And it was like Guru was an afterthought. After he passed and I heard Gangstar, it's almost like my ear switched. It went to Guru being at the front and the beat being the afterthought. And it, like Trey said, as soon as you said, but he really be saying some shit, I knew exactly who you was talking about. Because I'm like, yo, when I did my Black Thought Challenge, I said, you know what? I'm going to do a Guru challenge. And I said, I'm going to list all these songs of Guru's talking about specific things, and I'm not going to include none of his girl songs, just like I did with Thought. Soliloquy of Chaos, talking about going to the joint and burners coming out. I mean, just to get a rep. JFK to LAX. Like, Guru was always saying some shit. Like, and I with no problem gave you 15 Guru songs that's not talking about a girl, that I can tell you specifically this is what he's talking about, and this is it. So, and again, I couldn't hear it. I'm never that dude to just be like, oh, Old Dirty died. Oh, he was the greatest ever. No, you know what I mean? Old Dirty was dope when he was alive. I still think he's a dope MC that he passed. But with Guru, for some reason, I could just hear him now instead of hearing the beats. So I totally agree with you.
Second artist is, I mean, and that's because probably the lack of him being a feature, so to speak, and that's Phife Ditto. You know what I'm saying? God rest his soul. Because on the first album, you know, he said a couple of things, but it was just like, you know, mostly Tip. But then when they put him in the forefront for Low End Theory, I said, why y'all tuck this boy in the back, man? This, to me, he's the better MC. You know what I'm saying? You may like Tip's voice, you may like Tip's flow, but this is the better MC. So, you know, I think that just came from lack of exposure. So Phife is somebody that grew on me. And then the third thing, and this goes back to, you know, the event that we had yesterday, Ralph. Kanye West, right? Kanye is a fucking madman. This nigga's a genius. But I didn't give Graduation the just due that it deserves. Graduation.
It's fire.
Aside from my favorite joint,
Drunken Hot Girls.
but aside from my favorite joint by him is Dark Twisted Fantasy. Graduation, that shit is fucking fire.
Except for Drunken Hot Girls.
Okay, we have that exception.
And he's like, and don't forget about Drunken Hot Girls.
But I never liked Stronger until I heard that shit yesterday.
I
was like, no, this shit is fucking, because that was the beginning of him experimenting with different shit. And Kanye's never been afraid to step out there and try different shit every time. That Graduation album is fucking fire. That might be my second favorite album now. And he had a good 5 album run, like flawless shit. But that Graduation shit might be second next to Dark Twisted Fantasy for me right now. And it wasn't like that before.
All right, no doubt. Rel, what you got left?
I got an album and 2 artists. For the album, I got Volume 1, Jay-Z, In My Lifetime, Volume 1.
Which one is that?
That's the second.
The second, right after Reasonable Doubt.
All right.
I remember first hearing it and being like, nope, this ain't. But that album has some very high. The highs on that album are some of Jay-Z's highest of his career.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, he got some stuff on there that's like some of his best work to me.
Where I'm from.
I mean, where I'm from. I mean, come on, man.
Where I'm from, 1,000,001 Questions.
I mean, you must love me. Brown No More.
Imaginary Players.
Imaginary Players. You know what I'm saying? Like those songs is like, you know what I mean? It's just, I think the lows is what people focus on with that album. They focus on I Know What Girls Like, which is a horrible song.
City is Mine, another horrible song. Sunshine, Big Crazy, Foxy Brown.
Those 3 songs right there are what people think about when they think about that album. Right. If you really listen to that album, he got some heat on that album. Some of my favorite Jay-Z songs are on that album. So it didn't take long, but after the first couple listens, then I started to, you know, like I ran Where I'm From back 15 times. You know what I'm saying? That's just like, that shit is so gutter, and you know what I'm saying? And then
Streets is Watching.
I mean, he got that album, he got heat on it. You know what I'm saying? I had an artist, and it didn't take long for this artist to grow on me either, but I just remember the first time I heard him, I was like, what is this? And this is an artist that I really like now. and I've been a fan for a while, and that's Devin the Dude. When I
Ooh,
first heard
that's
Devin the
my
Dude,
guy.
I was like,
Woo.
what?
That's my
But
guy.
it didn't take long, trust me. So, you know,
you wanna
yeah,
do.
right. Like his, you can't even to describe it as just dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not overly lyrical. He's like the everyman hip hop artist. Like his subject matter is stuff that the everyday person can relate to. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's just dope. Like he's every MC that you like. Fuck with Devin the Dude. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And when I first heard him, I didn't really mess with him like that. And Eddie, who was the people you said? Because one of them was the same as me. I can't remember. Hold on. Who was your last two?
Oh, my last two, Tyler the Creator,
Tyler.
Ransom. Yeah.
Tyler's the other one. Like I wasn't really into him like that. That last album.
That boy nice. That boy nice.
His pen.
Woo.
And he was producing all that. Like that album is crazy. Like, so he got a new fan in me. I know all the kids like him, you know what I'm saying? Me working around, all the kids like him. My daughter likes him. And I was like, yo, yeah, y'all put me on. Y'all put me on to something.
He one of them ones, man. He one of them ones.
Because Kill will tell you, like, working with kids, like, sometimes they put you on to some good stuff. A lot of times it'd be some stuff I'd be like, I don't want to hear that. But I remember, like, kids put me on to that, and my little sister put me on to, at the time, put me on to Wiz Khalifa, because Cushion OJ is a great mixtape, by the way. And I didn't hear it. I would have never listened to it if it wasn't for my little sister. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes the kids can put you on to something. And that's how I found out about Tyler. Now he got a new fan. You know what I'm saying?
Tyler
and me, because he's official. So
it's like, for me, it's Kendrick, and then it's Tyler right here. You one of the ones for me.
He's serious, man. Talented, bro.
All right, for me, I got a song, "Shoot" by Whitney Houston. I hated that fucking song. I love it now. I got no reason for it. I can't sit here and tell you I wasn't in the mood to shoot when I was in college, and now I want to shoot. I have no explanation. I fucking love that song now. And the rest of artists, West Side Gun. When I first heard West Side Gun was on Royce's Governor's Ball. That was the first time I heard him in Conway, and I actually thought he was a girl at first. And I was like, yo, this chick is fucking horrible. Who the fuck is this girl? And then he was like, nah, nigga, that's a dude. And in between, I think Supreme Clientele is easily his dopest album. It's 5 mics to me. I love it. He's up and down from there. But West, and then Freeway and Sadat. And I think it's like that for me a lot of times when an artist comes with a different style that I'm not used to. The first time I heard Sadat was on Concerto in X Minor, and I was just like, yo, why is he rhyming like that? I really didn't love the beat. You know what I mean? Now, of course, now when I get to slow down and All for One and all that stuff, I'm like, yo, dude is now one of my, favorite MCs, but it was just that style being different. It's the same with Free. Like when I first heard Free, I was like, yo, he sounds like he's all nasal. Why is he rhyming like that? But then once you hear what they do and everything like that, then it just took me a while to get into that style. So I think anytime that there's an MC that has a different style that's not the norm, it kind of takes me a minute to kind of get into. And then like Rel said, Tyler, Naomi put me on to Tyler. She's in the car one day like, yo, I want to play you something. She played me Lumberjack. And I was like, nigga, that's Ooh. Tyler? Like, yo, damn, I didn't know. And I took her to his show, and it's one of the few shows I can say I've been to, and I didn't really know his music like that, but that I would go again. Like if there was another show in Philly, I would go to that show again. And normally I stay away from shows if I'm not familiar with that artist's work, because I feel like I would just be left out there. But yeah, it's that. Porsche, I know you gotta get ready to jet. Tell them where they can get at you, and all that great stuff.
Yeah, just on Twitter at Cherchez La Porsche, and we do Twitter Spaces. Typically every Tuesday night at 6:15 Pacific time, 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. And yeah.
Quick question. Porsche and Eddie, when I was in Cali, do y'all ever feel like, I like Cali because I feel like my day is still ahead of me while the East Coast like is going to sleep. Do y'all do? But I sometimes feel that way. And why am I forgetting that you're in Cali too? Because you're in New York now. Do you ever feel that way? Like I'll be like, yo, I like this Cali time because like rest of y'all niggas sleep. It's just 9 o'clock here. Like I'm just coming out. Do y'all feel that way living there or?
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I will be honest. Like sometimes I forget. Like sometimes I want to talk to my sister, and I call her in. She's like, "Oh, you okay? You woke me up." I'm like, "Oh, damn, man, I forgot. It's like so late over there." So I got so much family on the East Coast that in that way, that's the only thing I don't like about it. But everything else, yeah, I agree.
All right, yeah. Do you feel that way?
No, that's the opposite. It works against me because a lot of times the people that I want to reach out to, I can't do that until after my work day is done. Then it's like it's too late to be calling cats midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Unless it's killed. Because a lot of times you still up. But most of the time, other people you can't really. It's hard to catch up with people because it's either too late to call and then it's too early for them to call me. So I spend a lot of time missing people, in between that time change thing.
Yeah, I just loved it because I'm like getting out of the session. It's like, oh shit, the game that comes on at 10:30 here is on at 7:30, and I'm like, oh, this is instead of having to stay up until 1 in the morning to see the last game, it's only 10 o'clock. I still got time to do other stuff.
That part I do like. You know what I mean? Like games are starting like 4 or 5. Right. Instead of like 7 or 8, yeah.
Now, Porsche, is everything straight with Canada? Can you leave now? Can you fly, or is it still COVID?
Nope, we can leave. Like everything is pretty good now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to plan a trip. We got to plan a trip to Philly. Yeah. Because me, Rel, and Trey can all get there. If Ev is in New York, I know he can come down. So we got to get you into Philly so we can just come and spend the whole weekend.
Yep.
And
we will talk about that for sure.
An apartment 5B gathering, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be an in-person apartment 5B.
Porsche be sending me pictures of bears in her backyard. I ain't going to Vancouver.
I'm about to send you one. There was one today when I got home.
Oh, no. See, Abby, you want to go there? No. I'm straight. Porsche be showing me bears in her backyard. Like, nigga,
I took a video today. I will post it. It's crazy.
Are you saying bear or bear?
Bear. A bear.
Like
grizzly.
Giant
like
bear.
grizzly
Not
bear.
A grizzly. Black bear. Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm straight.
I'm straight. Yeah, I'm straight.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't
go to Philly. Go to Philly.
Yeah. We not gonna go to Vancouver. We gonna come to Philly.
Yeah. I'd rather deal with the street sweeper than the bear.
I've never had a cheesesteak before, so I need to have a cheesesteak.
We gotta set that trip up. We gotta set that whole week, and we just gonna take you different spots and just do a taste testing. Ev, I know you gotta go, Porsche. Thank you as always.
I'll stay by. It was so good to see everybody. Take care, guys. See you guys next time.
Ev, where can they get at you at? Because you don't give a fuck. You are the Memphis Grizzlies. You want all the smoke. You coming up the chimney. So
I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna respond to you because I don't care. But my handle is mental151. That's on Twitter. On Instagram is ev-assis. So anyway, listen. Express your thoughts. Maybe we'll have a conversation. Maybe you'll just sit there hanging
and talk to a wall.
Talk to a wall. I don't know, but I got to bounce myself. Little dude.
Can you just give a quick plug on what you're doing right now?
Oh, right now we're working on a project in profit, which deals with we're looking at the trajectory, the life, the not just the lifestyle, but the life study. It's a lot of it about the study of the MC. And this study, one of the reasons why we're doing it is to really look at this form outside of just like everybody think, rap, that's just what it is. I don't even like to use the word rap, number one. But everybody think, you just put a pen to paper and it is what it is. This project is about showing the study, showing the artistic form of it. And, we need to look at this the same way we look at pianists, the same way we look at painters, the same way we look at architects. Like all of this goes into this study, and there's a workflow and a workload that we all have gone through. And this is years of practice, this is years of mastery. So this piece is really about shining light on that. Of course, because I'm from Philly, a lot of it is going to come from a Philly kind of base as far as environment, location. but we're really looking at the study of this form. And I'm at a point before this thing winds up, because they already got us in academia, and before they do us like jazz, I really want to tell our own stories.
Yes.
Right.
Salute.
Much love. I'll talk to y'all. I gotta deal with this little.
I know what you gotta do. Do your thing, good brother. Do your thing. Eddie, tell them where they can get at you. Freestyles, everything that's going on with you.
On Twitter at Eddie the 80, Instagram at freestyles.com. So the latest thing that I did which was pretty dope, man. I got to do something that I haven't done before. Myself and Porsche, we hosted Twitter Spaces for I Am God and the Black Depths, and this is for their latest album that's coming out. I think it's coming out tonight or tomorrow, depending what coast you on.
Yeah, I think it was May 6th. So yeah, I don't know if it's midnight or.
And it's called Murder Castle, right? And so that has some history in Chicago as well. We held this very dope Twitter space for him. They explain the project, they explain, all the stuff that they're doing, where the name and the concept come from and what he was trying to do. So, very, very dope. It was a recorded Twitter space. So, you could definitely find it. I know I retweeted it. I'm probably going to retweet it again since the album is dropping. But definitely check that out, man. I had the pleasure of, being able to get an advance of that album, and it's incredible. It's just super dope. I Am God. He's been on this podcast. He's a friend of the show, and he's always dropping some quality hip hop. You know what I mean?
All right, no doubt. Trey, where can they get at you? Where can they cop everything? More importantly, bro, when I need to hear some new Trey Lee, bro. I need to. So when is that coming?
So first and foremost, you can hit me on TracyLeeMusic.com. That's TracyLee music.com. That's the website. You can also hit me on IG at Tracy Lee ESQ, TikTok Tracy Lee ESQ, Twitter at Trey Lee, and on YouTube at Left TV, LLEFT TV, left spelled with 2 L's, LLEFT TV. And stay tuned for the new Twitch page, or should I say channel as well, which is also Left TV. As far as the new project, man, I don't know when it's going to drop, but it's going to drop this year. I tell you that. I can tell you that much. And the way that I'm setting it up, it's kind of like it's a unique process because, again, and you'll hear this in a lot of the rhymes that I have, man. Everybody rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a rapper. Everybody's putting shit out. So you have to figure out a way that you stand out amongst your people that you're talking to. So the way that I'm going to put this shit out is going to be different from the way other niggas is dropping. So I will say that it is dropping this year, but it won't be in a traditional sense. It's going to be some little, new nuances to it. You know what I'm saying? That's going to make you be like, oh shit, that's how he putting the shit out? All right, cool. So it's always a method to the madness, kid.
All right, no doubt. You already know what it is. Rel, where can they get at you, good brother?
Uptown, Rel 215 on the gram, JBen215 on Twitter. And I got some stuff coming out too. So.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know when, but I'm working. You know what I mean? So trust and believe.
Oh yeah.
I got some.
Get ready.
That's always dope to hear. That's always dope to hear. You already know it is. Kill 889 Twitter, IG. We'll make beats for food. I love this episode because again, I've been getting killed. I can't wait for this shit to come out because if I've been getting killed for giving it 3 mics. I can't wait to see what the fuck they burn. They gonna burn down Eddie and Portia's timeline because I got mine burnt down for giving it 3 mics. He gave it a fucking crooked eye. Ev gave it a crooked eye, but he ain't on Twitter. And then Portia's gonna give it a 1 mic. So I can't wait because I've been catching hell for the past 24 hours for giving it 3 mics. So listen, I can't wait.
I want all the smoke. You hear me?
There you go. Right there you go. I'm about to start calling y'all. I'm about to start calling you the Memphis Grizzlies. Rel, you are my sneakerhead. What do you think about these? Just cop these.
Love them. That particular sneaker, not even just the colorway, is you can't go wrong, bro.
Bro, it's some old throwback 70s. It got like the furry fur on it, man. And I really don't do Air Max like that. But when I saw these colors, I was like, yo, that's a summer. I was looking for
a perfect polo shoe.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just perfect. And speaking of polo, my book of the week, Bang Boogie, the polo shirt.
Mine's on the way.
You can see that this is all about breaking down the infamous polo shirt, the different styles, everything like that.
That's right up your alley right there.
Oh, hell yeah. So again, if you're a low life, this is the book that you gotta have. I will get with y'all next week, man. I appreciate it. And great to be back, man. That 2 weeks off was no fun without y'all guys. So, I'm gonna have to space out my vacations a little bit better next time, man.